Good morning, everybody. Let's get our heads right on a Tuesday, August 29th, 2023. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. It's great to be here with you. We have 4 hours of original content coming up for you today. We did 4 yesterday. We have 4 to 16 hours of original content for you guys this week. That's what we do here on Ben and Woods on 97.3, The Fan. So 4 down, 16 to go, right? 4,
Yes.
8, 12, 16, right. Yeah, so there you go. So we still have 16 hours of material, fresh, original. Rarely do we replay an interview. Rarely. Sometimes we do. When we do that, just so you know, that's a straight-up punt. We're tired. And I'm going to tell you that. I'll pull the curtain back. We are tired. When we say, you know what, he was really good. Let's replay that. It was never that great. We are tired, and we need a break. Because, again, 20 hours of original content every week, it wears you down in a one-horse town, essentially, which is what San Diego is, and that's okay. I'm fine with it. I love it. I'd never want to work anywhere else. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
To my left is Benjamin R. Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Good morning to you, Benjamin.
Good morning to you. Good morning to the Tier 1s. We have 4 hours of original content today.
Yes.
20 hours of original content this week. We're not going to repeat ourselves at all. Let me say that again. We will not be repeating ourselves at all on
Not
the
a
show.
bit. Not a bit.
It's going to be original all the way.
fresh. As fresh as monkey's breath, my friend. Fresh.
Fresh, no repetition. We're talking 4 hours of original content,
That's right.
20 hours of original content
we
this
don't replay
week.
interviews.
No.
Rarely.
Rarely.
Nope.
Only on a punt. We punt
Yeah, we
sometimes.
punt sometimes.
But we don't repeat ourselves.
How was everyone's day yesterday?
My day was fairly uneventful yesterday. Went to Costco, did some meal preps for the week. Still
Nice.
trying to stay good for the most part. Obviously, I'm not trying to lose weight anymore, but you don't want to gain it all back. That's one of the keys to weight loss is don't just put it right back on. So
It's going to make me sad if you gain it all
well,
back.
I mean, it's happened before, but I'm dedicated to continuing the journey, and that means making my chicken, my vegetables, my berries, things like that, and then occasionally you can treat yourself.
Make your berries.
Well,
You pluck them.
I don't pluck them, but I go to Costco and I get the big clam shell of strawberries and blackberries.
Okay.
And then I take them home, and
Separate them.
I don't like eating them with the stems on, so I'll cut all the tops off and then slice them in half.
Why don't you hold the stem and...
Dip them in chocolate. And
No, just this. Just take it out with the stem. And...
It's
Throw it
just it's just messy. So
How do you eat it? With a fork?
Yeah, I prepare
Wow.
them all and put them in a big, like my berry bucket. I wash them and put them in.
Trademark, by the way. Ben and Woods. Berry buckets.
Logoed berry buckets for sale at the merch store.
Paulie, get them in the
Coming
merch
up later
store.
today.
Logoed berry buckets. Thank you.
And then I've got, like 5 or 6 portions worth that I can just, pour out and then eat with a fork.
Yeah, meal preps is always a really great idea. It is. It's a fantastic idea. I love to do it. It actually doesn't bother me to meal prep. I can meal prep like an MFer. Here's the problem. Eat it on Monday, eat it on Tuesday, get to Wednesday, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm calling DoorDash. I'm not eating that
Weren't
again.
you going to have someone who was going to do the meal prepping? Whatever happened with that?
All right, so...
Because you told me that, and
No,
then
we did.
I never heard anything about it.
Bro, we did.
Uh-huh.
We did. We had...
I don't think you've talked about that.
No,
Have I not?
I've not
All
heard
right,
anything
so-
about this.
Set
Now
the stage. 'Cause,
I'm fascinated.
I'm curious
Didn't
for the
I-
update.
Didn't I tell you guys
No.
what happened?
No.
I can't believe I forgot. So
I don't think you told the listeners anything.
Did I not?
No.
Okay. Which is surprising because I tell you guys damn near everything that happens. But
I know for Woods, it's always been a challenge at his household. Hannah works really hard. Woods works long hours. They got 2 kids who require a whole lot of attention, that expend a ton of energy. And when they're not expending energy, I understand Woods would rather be napping than necessarily preparing, a 4-course dinner every single night.
I gotta tell you, man.
Meal decisions, meal prep has always been one of your family's big challenges in the evening.
I hope, and my wife and I are on solid footing right now. If we are ever to split, this is what will do it. Dinners. That's it. That's it. Infidelity? Nope. Drug and alcohol abuse? Nope. It will be dinner that wrecks our marriage. That's it. It's the only thing. So we're at our wits' end. So we'll do this thing where both of us we'll go, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just doing it. That lasts about 3 days. And then by the fourth, you're like, oh, God, I didn't get groceries. Just get DoorDash, right? And then the weekend hits, and you're like, well, I'm not going to cook. It's Friday. Nobody wants to cook on Friday. Let's get a pizza. And you got 2 little kids. They eat about 10% of what you cook anyway. And every time you put a plate down in front of them, it's, ugh, gross. So you're like, oh, put you through the wall. So Hannah goes, all right, I'm over it. I'm hiring somebody. I go, yes, great. Like, what does she do? She's like, well, like, she's not a personal chef. Like, we don't have that kind of money.
Sounds a little that, but that's okay.
That's some
fine.
long money. Very nice woman, by the way. Very nice woman. Came over to the house once. She went and bought all the groceries that she needed, and then came over, and the doorbell rang. I'm like up from a nap at like noon. I'm like, hello. She's like, oh, I'm here to cook. I'm like, oh, okay. Goes into my kitchen, and she's in there for like 5 hours, and there's all this stuff made.
Takes a while
and
to make
like,
a week's worth of food.
I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. And then I go, what did you make? She made like burgers and spaghetti and a bunch of stuff that I can make. Like, I know how to make all that. And I said to Hannah, I go, well, why did she do this? She goes, well, I told her to. I go, why? Why would you tell her to make stuff that I know that I can make in my sleep? Like, I know how to make spaghetti. I know how to make burgers. I know how to make chicken tacos. Like, in my mind, it was going to be something like, what do we got now? Oh, Chilean sea bass with carrots. Oh, my God, pork tenderloin with mashed potatoes. I'm all in. But she knows, it's like a bunch of stuff that I knew how to cook. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I ate it. Wasn't that good? So I was like, all right, well, we're going to try something else. Hey, people are going to DM me. I've tried Blue Ribbon. I've tried Blue Apron. I've tried Blue Waffle. I've tried all of it.
We tried 2 different services, and we found one that we like. Meal Prep Sunday San Diego, I think is what it's called. We got 10 dinners for the 2 of us delivered Sunday afternoon for the week, and it's been an absolute game changer to not even have to worry about dinner. They are 10 prepackaged
10
meals.
Different.
You can order duplicates if you want,
okay.
But we get different. I mean, I had citrus jerk chicken and vegetables and rice yesterday, and you just throw it in the microwave. It's delicious, game changer.
Here's the problem.
There's never been in 3 weeks now we have not said, what should we do for dinner?
Here's the problem. This is the embarrassing part. I get out of here, I'm home by 11.
Like, you and Hannah should do that for you guys. And then just
make
cook
the kids a grilled cheese or something.
Yeah. Chicken nuggets for the kids.
I'm always looking for a third job. What do you think of berry medley? In a berry bucket.
Like, you just make me make me 5 berry medleys in a.
I'll come over with my clamshell of berries. I'll prepare them.
Hey, once you enjoy your nap, I'll let myself out. And Ben's just in there dicing up strawberries, making us berry medleys. I'm telling you guys, it's the bane of my existence. And when I send the text or when she sends the text at it's usually about 2:30 or 3. Hey, what do you want to do for dinner? The sweat and anxiety just comes over, and I go, I don't know. Look, I never want to be single again. I love my wife. I love having a family. It's my favorite thing. If I was single, though, it's moronically easy. I would literally eat turkey spaghetti every night. I would eat it 4 nights a week, and then I'd grill up like 1 chicken breast, make some broccoli, and call it a day. If I do that at my home, Hannah's like, oh, chicken breast again? Or if she does it to me, I'm like, oh, chicken breast again? Like, it just is so everything. It's just such a beating to do. I don't know why we can't get over it. We can't figure it out. We argue about it all the time. So I feel bad for that lady that came over. It wasn't very good. It was not very good at all. And it wasn't that much money compared to what we spend on DoorDash and everything else. And she got the groceries and did it. So, like, I don't know what to do.
On the
Our
chat,
meal
dinner
prep
is also a divorceable offense in my house. So you're not the only one out
Meal
there
chat?
that has trouble figuring out what to make every night.
Our meal prep service for the week costs like 1.5 times of DoorDash.
For the
Like if I ordered DoorDash twice
every
in a
single
week.
day.
No, twice in a week.
Oh, just
I'd be
one and a half
spending- I
one
would be
DoorDash.
spending more
So
money.
essentially, if you were ordering DoorDash 5 times a week, you're saving 3.5
Oh,
DoorDashes
God,
on
yes.
that.
Yeah, I mean DoorDash for 2 people,
Probably
minimum
the thing-
$80.
The thing is, too, is like I look in there and I see the prepackaged meal that you pull the film off of after the third day, and I'm like, I don't want that. And that's what it boils down to.
You get to pick your meals.
No, the other thing, too, though, is that it's like I get off at 11. I feasibly could be my kids and my wife should walk into a beautifully prepared Mrs. Doubtfire looking meal like every single day. They should. They're worthy of that. I'm the load that won't, refuses to just suck it up and be like, I don't want to cook. I don't want to cook every day. I don't. Who wants to? Like, I know chefs that don't want to cook every day. You know what I mean? So I'm like, so I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss. So we'll just probably keep ordering DoorDash. I've just been getting Surf Brothers every night because it's like chicken and rice, which, by the way, I could make in my sleep. But that's what we're.
I mean, you've got your griddle, outdoor griddles that you cook on sometimes.
And when I'm prepping, it's fantastic. You throw 8 chicken breasts on there and you're good. You dice them up. You throw veggies on there. It's fantastic. But you can't griddle every day. I don't want to griddle every day. I can, but I just don't want it. It's just me. It's all me. It's all my fault. I'll wear it. I'm absolutely have no problem wearing it.
Well, you never know what original content you're going to get here on the Ben and Wood Show. You just know you're going to get 4 hours of it every single day.
We did Hello Fresh, where they deliver you all of the ingredients in one bag
I did it too.
A meal. And you got the instructions, you got everything there. And I'm like, well, I still got to make everything. It still took an hour.
Blue Apron was maybe the worst experience of my life. I'm like, Cornish game hand, and I've got to like stuff this thing and cut up fennel, and like it was horrific. I was in there, I was like, it's going to be another hour and a half. And she's like,
you're like, cool.
Okay.
I guess I didn't have to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
They got me there.
I could have just made a couple sandwiches.
Jesus God.
I literally was in there like chopping fennel, dicing up oregano. I'm like, this is the worst S in the world. I hate this. We did it for like 1 week, and I'm like, this is horrific. It's horrific. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss. I'm probably just gonna have to suck it up.
Oh my God.
Oh my Lord. So there you go. Oh God.
All right, we got a fun show, I think, on a Tuesday because we have 2 of our favorite guests who will be joining us coming up at 7:35. We are going to catch up with our friend Katie Wu. Katie covers the St. Louis Cardinals for The Athletic, as you probably know. We are going to have a misery off with Katie Wu.
Yeah.
And try to determine who's just had the worst time this baseball season.
She's been prepped. I know
Yeah.
she did her homework.
Yeah, she absolutely did her
She's
homework.
going to be coming with all the stats.
We
on
got
the Cardinals.
fire, though. We got
Disappointing
fire.
Yeah,
season.
she's toast, dude. Think about this for you Notting Hill fans out there, and you got 3 of them right here. Remember the scene in Notting Hill where there's 1 brownie left, and they go, all right, the saddest sack gets the last brownie. This is going to be for who gets the brownie, us or Katie Wu. So it's the brownie battle between us and Katie Wu. Can't wait.
She has a little bit of an advantage because last night, of course, the Padres beat the St. Louis Cardinals. Jesse Agler called the game and will join us as he always does on Tuesday for an incorporator and some good Padres chat at 8:35. In and around those interviews are regular segments like our Daily Ditty coming up next, Take on Woods, Don't Do This, and much more. The theme this week, by the way, toe-tapping songs.
Got a good one for
I believe Woodsy's got the pick today coming up, so that is next, and then we get rolling on a Tuesday morning. Glad to have all the Tier 1s with us for 4 hours of original content here on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's get some original traffic right now with Kelly Danick.
Does this make you want to tap your toes?
Yeah, I'm over here bopping around. This is the Doors, right?
Yes.
It's almost Elvis-like, this song.
Yeah, he really channeled his inner Sinatra.
Yeah, there
to
you
be
go.
honest with you. He was a
Sinatra for sure.
Big Elvis guy, big Sinatra guy. I'm currently reading another Jim Morrison biography, which is really, really good. And I've been listening to the Doors a lot, as I used to when I was a kid. And it's brought back a lot of good memories. Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so young because the first thing that came to my mind when I hear this song is Jack Black in
School of Rock. Yeah.
Lawrence is good at the
Piano.
He shall be rocking in my show.
We have not mentioned the Padres yet today, right?
No, we will.
So, but it's weird because I just got a message in the chat that said, couldn't figure out this team till August, Woods. Saw you get all worked up yesterday because you've bought into Bull S since April. You're just as bad as the Padres, bitch. It was easy to see since May. Again, next gen, I recommend that you head down to Petco Park, fill out an application, and then that way you can steer and lead the team to the direction where they want to go, which is winning a World Series. I've been pretty checked out. I've been pretty checked out on the team as far as they had a shot. Had they swept Milwaukee, you had a shot. They got swept. I mean, I came in here yesterday and said it's over. It's absolutely over. There's no question.
Yeah, no. I mean, even after this weekend, and I'm not going to get excited because yes, they won yesterday. Yes, they picked up a game in the standings yesterday.
Yeah, no. There's no.
I'll always
sad.
I mean, if they reel off 10 in a row right now, sure, we can revisit our stance of we don't think it's going to happen. But right now, you can't just live and die because they picked up a game.
No.
I'm not getting my hopes up because they won a game last night and picked up a game in the standings.
We talked about it yesterday on the show too. Yesterday, Mr. Next Gen Breaks, I said I'm ready to shut the guys down. I'm ready to shut them down, and I'm ready to tank for a bottom six here so that we get a better pick because with our salary being as high as it is, it pushes us back 10 spots if we finish below sixth or above sixth. So if you're seventh, then or seven from the bottom, essentially your draft spot gets pushed back. So I'm literally in here calling for them to tank. And I'm not going to say I was excited to see you, Darvish, go on the IL yesterday, but I thought it was a great move. You came out and said, I want to pitch again this year, and I don't think there's any need for that. I don't think we need to see Joe Musgrove. So I want to clarify that. I was bought into. I was bought in onto them finally putting together 4 or 5 games in a row. But then after I saw them get swept, I'm like, well, what's the point now? No need.
If they can go and win every game until Joe is ready to pitch again. Maybe. Let's talk about it then.
Sure, yeah.
But that ain't happening.
You'd have to go on a 15-0, 16-0 run, and I don't know that this team has it in it. Somebody in the chat says 3.2% chance of making the playoffs. That 3.2 is not enough for me to come in here and say, oh, yeah. Look, and with you being out, with Joe being out, yeah, there's no shot.
I'm glad we had the Yu Darvish discussion yesterday before they made the actual move and put him on the injured list. I don't think, because if you were listening yesterday, I went through, I don't have the numbers here, but his last 5 starts, Padres had lost them all. They had generally been pulling him around 80 to 85 pitches in 4 of those 5 starts. That's not typical for Yu Darvish. It tells me that you've been pitching through
something.
This shoulder or this
elbow,
this arm fatigue, whatever's been going on. He, hey, we're still in it. We need these games badly. We don't have any pitching depth. You said, hey, I'm going to give you everything I can until I can't anymore. And then finally, Padres realized, all right, the chances are pretty low now. We're probably doing more damage. We need to rest this guy. We're going to put him on the injured list. If the miracle happens and yesterday's win sparks a little run and the Padres win 7 in a row and they pick up 2 or 3 games and they're back to 4 out, yeah, I'm sure you and Joe Musgrove will probably ramp up the rehab and maybe push themselves a little bit to get back by the end of the season. But if the more realistic outcome happens and the Padres continue to, win 1, lose 2, win 2, lose 1, and are still 7 games out in 2 weeks with 14 games left. There's no reason for those guys to come back. Get healthy as possible for next season and shut her down until next spring training. So
Yeah,
that's
man.
where we are right now. I'm sure they would all love to surprise us all with the run that has, at this point, eluded them all season long. But even the most diehard of optimists at some point have to realize that when your chances are so low, don't keep throwing, long shot chances and risking long-term health for a 3% chance to make the playoffs.
Honestly, especially with your arms. I mean, as dicey as it's been health-wise for some of them, a lot of it has been, self-imposed on them. But Blake's healthy. Let him continue to go out and get starts. He was brilliant last night. Let some of the younger kids come up and throw. I know they called up Waldron again. Great. Here's your chance, kid. Go out there and see what you can do. Let those guys pitch through it. Let Lugo continue to build on a great season. Let Waka, as long as he's healthy, continue to build on a great season. And, as far as Joe and you are concerned, I'm good. I'm absolutely good. I don't feel like you're letting us down. I don't feel like we're in the race and you did something goofy to hurt yourself. No, I don't feel that way at all. I feel like I'd rather have you back at full strength next year, hitting Peoria in February, ready to jam.
This hour of Ben and Woods is brought to you by Smart and Final. This Labor Day, stock up and save. Shop Smart and Final and get low prices on everything you need to throw the ultimate Labor Day cookout. Get it all in one trip, and that's it at Smart and Final. All right, we'll still come back with our Padres recap. It was a win. Makes me happier than a loss.
Really hard to root for your team that you love to lose.
Nope.
So I found myself getting hyped watching the game.
Some unexpected stars for the team last night.
Absolutely.
Just say that. So we'll discuss last night's 4-1 win over the St. Louis Cardinals. Also tell you why it probably is not a sign of more things to come, but we'll still enjoy it when we come back with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by S.E. Johnson Raid. Feel like I'm going to jinx this, but
Oh, good.
I've started to actually enjoy getting up in the morning early. I never thought I would, but it's one of my favorite times of the day now. Like early, like before 6 a.m., before the show.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I'm not tired when I get up. Obviously, I am. I slept 3 hours and 45 minutes last night. I like being up in the morning, though.
I did too.
And I never used to be.
Well, then why don't you start getting here at 5?
Then I can sleep 3 hours and 15 minutes instead of 3 hours and 45 minutes.
You like it so much.
I got up at 2:30 this morning.
Really?
Wide awake, had breakfast, the whole bit. Went back and laid in bed, scrolled my phone. Got here at 5. I mean, just brutal.
You have a lot of time to scroll then in the morning, don't you?
Yeah.
I give myself 4 minutes when I get up to scroll my phone just to kind of wake up. That's all I'm allowed, 4 minutes.
I do no work the night before. Zero. Everything I do is in the morning. I can't do it at night. I
Then
can't
I do everything the night before.
After I put those kids down, that's it. I'm out. It's like I just want to shut it down. I can't go in there and be like, all right, let me prep up some notes. I watch the game. That's my prep for the night, and then I circle back in the morning to do my preparatory work, Benjamin. But no, I like mornings too, man. I'm fully a morning person now. Fully.
Got a couple of great giveaways again today. If you missed it yesterday, we'll have another 4-pack of tickets to comedian Bert Kreischer coming to Pechanga Arena on October 1st. Stay tuned for that chance to win in our 8 o'clock hour. And another Fernando Tatis Jr. bobblehead giveaway. Now, my son reminded me, were these the ones they were supposed to give away last year and then they had to pull? And now that they're giving them away this year. I'd totally forgotten about that they had scheduled that for last season, and then when he never played, they said, well, we're just going to put those back in a closet somewhere, and we will break them out when appropriate.
Big closet.
Yeah, big closet that they save 40,000 bobbleheads until this year. But
Is that right?
They finally get to break them out this year.
I mean, I'm assuming it's the same
Yeah,
one
I
as
think
last
so.
year.
They didn't.
But they had a Tatis bobblehead scheduled for whatever, late August, early September, and
You're not just going to toss them.
it was August 4th or something like that.
got
when
popped for the
we got
suspension,
news.
and just it was would have been tone deaf to give them out
Yes, I'd say so.
while he was under suspension.
Yeah,
so
I'd say so.
They put him on the shelf, and now they get to come out this year. So we got a giveaway coming up in our 9 o'clock hour, Fernando Tatis Jr. bobblehead. Our Padres wrap-up of, a road win, just their second in their last 10 road games, coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Good news for westbound 78 travelers. They cleared that accident before Twin Oaks Valley Road, so just watch out for little residual slowing there. And an accident involving a semi on the coastline, northbound 5. This is just before Poinsettia. It's over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Miss any of yesterday's Padres game?
Did you catch a game last night?
Well, we've got you covered.
Thank you.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Go! It's our house right here, baby.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
That is the ball game, and that is a winner. This about damn time. Number 8 hitter waits. Here's the pitch, and a swing and a miss. Went after a curveball in the dirt, and the side is retired. No runs, a hit, and the Redbirds leave him loaded. 1-1 pitch, hit in the air to right, broke his bat. That's going to drop down in front of Walker. Fernando's on his way, he will score. Throw goes into third base, and in time. Great tag by Arenado as they got Bogarts trying to go first to third. Just talked about the arm of Jordan Walker out in right field. He got an opportunity to show it off. Padres, though, do take a 1-0 lead. Pitch on the way, and Cooper inside outs it, floats it into shallow center, a base hit. Edman gets to it quickly. He fires home. No chance to get Tatis as the throw comes all the way through. An RBI single for Garrett Cooper, his second hit of the night, and the Padres lead it 2-0. Blake Reddy, Walker runs the pitch, grounded to the left side. Xander's got it at shortstop, pats it in the glove, and fires to first in time. For the second time this year, Blake Snell is through 7. Paul Goldschmidt, the batter. Robert Suarez deals. First pitch swinging, a fly ball to deep left. Soto is back at the wall, gonna go. Into the Padre bullpen. That's number 22 for Paul Goldschmidt. Got ourselves a one-run game here in the bottom of the 8th. And first pitch swinging, lines one into left center field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Soto has scored. Tatis is on his way. A 2-run single for Garrett Cooper, his 3rd hit of the night, and the Padres now lead it 4-1.
It was great. Walked a few guys, but other than that, a little command in the first, and after that was really good. The fact that he went 7 was big for us today too, and threw over 100 pitches. Knew we needed it today, and was up for it.
Padres win 4-1
Yes.
over the St. Louis Cardinals.
The Padres won.
They
last
did.
night, 4-1 over the
did.
St. Louis Cardinals.
Hell yeah.
It's they have one of the worst offenses in baseball. I think Mudd had said they'd scored 3 runs in 30 some odd innings. They look just absolutely terrible. And you look at the guys on the squad, and you're like, well, I know him. That's Nolan Arenado, and that's Paul Goldschmidt, and that's Lars Nootbaar, and that's Tommy Edman. And I know these guys. Oh, and look at these young studs they brought up. Jordan Walker, the shortstop they got up. He's going to be a good player. Having trouble hitting at the big league level. That's not anything new for a rookie. Oh, God, that's Wilson Contreras back there. Like, these guys aren't scrubs. They're just not playing good baseball. It's very, very eerily reminiscent of what we watch on a nightly basis, except we got a lot of knocks last night. They didn't. Blake Snell held them, to just scratched out a couple of hits, and, Goldschmidt with the home run. But other than that, man, pretty dominant game, and obviously Blake Snell set the tone. Him wiggling out of that jam was like...
That was big. Bottom of the 4th inning.
Oh, my God, Ben.
Bases loaded, 1 out, and he goes 3-0 on Andrew Kisner. At that
7-hole hitter.
At that point, the way things have gone for the Padres, you're expecting
he's walking it in.
a big inning.
Yep.
I mean, a bases loaded walk. We saw a ton of those, it seemed like, on Sunday. Probably another hit coming after that, and it's going to be 3-4-0. We know the Padres can't come back from that.
It's over.
Thinking that game is going to be lost right there. So, Blake Snell, as he's done a ridiculous number of times this season, gotten himself into a jam with walks and gotten himself out of that jam with strikeouts. He remains on pace for one of the most remarkable, weird accomplishments in baseball history.
Which fits right in.
To lead the league in ERA and walks
Never happened
at the
before.
same time. Any pitching coach worth their salt will tell you, you can't have a good ERA if you walk a bunch of batters.
Correct.
They will say you need to be in the strike zone. If you're putting free runners on, that will come back to haunt you. But it hasn't come back to haunt Blake Snell very often this season.
If that doesn't tell you how nasty that guy's stuff is and can be, I don't know what will. If we're doing the trophy chasing bit, and I feel like we are, Zach Gallen gave up 6 runs in 5 innings against the Dodgers. His ERA jumped to 3.32.
I mean, you said that with a bit of a tone.
Me?
the trophy
No,
chasing.
there's no tone.
What else do we have
There's
this
no
year?
tone. What are you talking about? Love Blake Snell. Love it. Great job, man.
Paulie was just talking during the break while we were playing that recap. I think it's a legitimate topic, Paul. If the Padres are going to try to re-sign Blake Snell, his price tag will only go up if he wins another Cy Young Award. Now, if they are not, go ahead and someone else can overpay as much as they want for a 2-time Cy Young Award winner.
Do you guys really think, after the year he put together, and if he, let's say he wins the ERA title, do you really think Boris is going to be like, well, you didn't win the Cy Young, so you're only going to get, he's going to cash in. Like anybody.
It's just one extra chip.
Yeah.
to be able to
I have
use.
said this all year long. I love Blake Snell. I really do. I think whatever he's going to get paid, and it's going to be a lot, is going to be too much from whatever team gives it to him, because we all know that as dominant as Blake Snell is, he's going to make you tear your hair out half the time. He's going to walk guys. There's no guarantee that next year when he walks 5, that 3 of them don't come around to score. He's kind of been the opposite of the Padres' luck this season, where everything else seems to have gone wrong. For Blake Snell, it's kind of gone right this year. But you keep playing with fire, eventually you're going to get burned. you know he's probably going to get off to a slow start. It's just a matter, is it a month and a half? Is it 2.5? Is it 3.5 months before he kind of gets going early in the season and you're going to be tearing your hair out? And my prediction is that wherever Blake Snell signs, their fan base is going to be in June going, why did we pay so much for this guy? And then in September, they're going to go, oh, I see, I see. And I think there's going to be some frustrating moments with Blake Snell.
It's tough because you have to replace that. Like, you have to replace a guy that has that kind of swing and miss ability. We haven't seen the Padres bring up anybody. I mean, Avila has some swing and miss, but you're not going to mistake Avila and Blake Snell any day of the week. At some point, though, man, I was thinking about it yesterday. We're going to have to be okay with walking away from guys at some point instead of saying, here's 10 and 250. And it sucks. It sucks for Blake Snell. Like that, like the fact that he wasn't one of the guys they offered early in the season in spring training when they're handing out extensions. Yeah. That says something to me. It said something to me then. It says something to me now. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of school. I don't know if there's been any attempt to try to get a deal done this season. I really don't. I haven't heard a whisper of it. Maybe it was done behind closed doors, and Blake said, no, we're going to play it out. Or more importantly, Scott Boras said, no, we're going to play it out, see how it goes. Somebody tweeted yesterday, I thought it was brilliant. He's the perfect Scott Boras client right now. That he is absolutely perfect. Now,
like playing
really
well
his
in a
walk
contract
year. It's just it sets up so well for Boras Corp.
So then, on that logic, there's no reason the Padres should trade Juan Soto this offseason.
Because
walking
he will have
into a contract year.
He will have a dominant year.
Boras client walking into a contract year.
I mean, he's played it perfectly. They don't all do, because Eric Hosmer was a Boras guy too. They don't all, but he did it the year before.
Parlayed it into
144. So yeah, maybe he did. Maybe he did play it perfectly. But yeah, so I
look at the rotation for next year and I go
toast.
I don't know that we're in a position with next year's rotation as it stands to let a potential probable Cy Young winner walk.
Do you give him if he would sign a Musgrove deal, I'd say you do it.
But don't you feel like he's going to get his big contract and that's going to mess with his head a little bit? Like, now I've got to pitch even better. The expectations are higher. Ultimately,
it will be his biggest payday by far.
Ultimately, and I go back, the Tampa Bay Rays they're a good organization when it comes to identifying their own talent. There's a reason they were willing to trade him. They didn't even get that much back for him when they traded him. They were worried about a few things. Probably not going deeper into games, the whole World Series thing with Kevin Cash, that they just didn't see a guy who could be that workhorse at the top of rotation. He has dominant ace stuff, but is he ever really going to be a number one guy when most of the time you're not going to expect more than 6 innings?
He's our number one guy this year. He's got more innings than anybody else.
Of course he has been. But how many times has it turned into wins? Oh, that was his 11th win.
Yeah, but I mean, because he got zero support for a long time.
You better have a dang good bullpen behind him. Because if he goes out and pitches you to a 2-1 lead after 6 innings, that's 3 more innings that you still have to get through, even on a great Blake Snell start, to get a win at the end of the game.
You're smarter than knowing what wins mean,
right? Yeah,
in 2023 for a pitcher.
I know that his win-loss record means nothing to me, but if you can't translate his starts into team wins, that's the only thing that matters. As a team,
that's not on him necessarily.
Yes, but are you willing to overpay when you can't even translate?
If he gives you
his great
six
starts
and a third
into
innings with 1 run, he gave up 1 bad pitch,
Would
you lose that game? That's really not on him.
But if are you giving him $25 to $30 million a year at how old is he? 29.
No.
I think you have to say no for once.
And similarly, Josh Hader, who picked up his 28th save, he's going to get his bag this offseason too. Guy has not given up an earned run since May. May was the last time Josh Hader gave up an earned
since May.
But
I get what you're saying.
Yes,
between those two,
but his agent
I would sign Snell.
His agent's going to sell that as well. And
I never want to see a relief pitcher signed for more than like 2 years.
And I agree with Paul as well. I think as Woods, I thought you said it perfectly. You have to be okay at some point letting some guys walk away.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when they're 30 plus.
And these are 2 guys where you go, we just got maybe 2 of the best seasons of their career. It's only going to go downhill from there. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Good luck
it.
to you in the future. We need to find new guys now.
But
Do
is
you
that
say
logic,
who can do this?
Is that logic based on questionable contracts that have already been given out?
Yes. And that's the unfortunate thing, too, is I wondered this yesterday driving home. I called our buddy.
If you don't sign Cronenworth and Bogarts, for example, you're re-signing Snell. It's not even a question.
I don't know that it's still a better decision.
Well,
even if you do have all the money in the world to sign him, I'm not sure that's a smart decision to lock him up for 5 years at a ridiculous amount of money going forward.
Our buddy Ryan Phillips wrote a really nice piece yesterday in the Big Lead, and I read it, and I called him on the way home to tell him great job, and we chatted a little bit about it, and we both kind of wondered aloud. And look, you can say what you want, man. AJ Preller has spent a lot of dough, a lot of money, and if you went back and I think if you're the owner, at some point, the only thing I can liken it to is if my wife shared an account and we were on the same budget and we spent, she spent every nickel we made and we didn't get anything in return for it. At some point, I'm going to have to say, or she's going to have to say, whatever, let's tighten the belt. We have to tighten the belt. It's getting out of control.
I get it.
So I wondered if Papa Pete was like, bro, you just spent $12 million on Matt Carpenter. You spent X, this on this guy, this on this guy, $280 for Xander. Like, we cannot do another 7-year AAV of $30 million for a 30-year-old pitcher. We just can't do it. I know our window is now, but we've been burned too many times. I just don't know that you can do it.
After a disappointing season like this, to have your best pitcher, to let him walk going into a year where your only pitchers locked up are Musgrove coming off a shoulder injury, coming off 4 injuries, and 39-year-old Darvish coming off one of his worst career years.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is
that's an interesting message to sell. Hey, we're going to be right back in it in 2024. We just let our Cy Young pitcher walk, though.
For sure. Yeah. No, I think there's validity on both sides. You can make the argument to re-sign him. Absolutely. That's an easy one. Guy may win a Cy Young this year, and he's probably going to win the ERA title. That's a guy you want in your rotation. But the other thing is, what sets us up better for the future? Is it Blake Snell? When pitchers decline, they don't typically get better. He has gotten better. He's more comfortable here, but I don't think his
that fine line of caring about the future and wanting to win
and wanting to win now.
Window.
I absolutely get it, and I don't think he's signing a 2-year deal, 3-year deal to hit free agency again. Nor should he. It's a really tough call. It's a really tough call. But at some point, you got to be okay saying, I can't keep giving everyone 10-year deals worth $300 million. I can't do it. I always say, it's not my money. Spend away. And yeah, if you want to do it. I'll be stoked if he's back. But I wonder if it's the best decision.
To me, it's not a Colonel budget issue. You're always better off finding players who are on the rise as opposed to signing ones who are going to be on the decline.
Of course.
And the Padres have signed too many guys, you Darvish, that are probably on the decline. They need to find more players that are on the rise. All guests on Ben and Woods appear on the Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. Take on Woods and more next year on The Fan.
It's we're a bit on the fence, I think. I think we were just talking about the Blake Snell deal potentially at the end of the season, and obviously he's on a great run right now. Somebody tweeted too, hey, whoever gets Blake Snell next year, enjoy it. I mean, this is what it's like. It is a damn roller coaster. Walks, but the ability to make people look as foolish as anyone in the big leagues. In fact, I'll say this. No one makes hitters look as foolish as he does. Maybe Devin Williams with the airbender, but Blake Snell with that 55-foot curveball that he gets, more guys that swing at that thing than you could ever imagine. That's how good he is. That's how nasty he is when he's on. And he's been on for a long time. I mean, his little run here has been pretty substantial.
Honestly, I'd love Blake Snell on like a 1-year deal to bridge the gap to some of the younger pitchers, but there's no way he's gonna sign a 1-year deal. He's gonna be looking for as many years and as much money as possible.
Things is you don't have 3 big arms like ready to go that are going to be fighting for spots next year.
That's always the predicament here of being a Padre fan too, is because we can let him go because we have think about all the teams that have let players go that you're like, whoa. Wow, you let Mookie Betts go. You let Freddie Freeman go. And it's different for pitchers, but, you're like, holy crap, you let Carlos Correa walk. Wow, why? Because you had Jeremy Pena. He's ready to be the World Series MVP.
It's interesting that you give both of those examples, though, because both Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts have been outstanding since they've left.
Outstanding.
But Atlanta has also been outstanding.
They got Matt Olson, so
they've been fine.
Like 1A and 1B.
In Boston, they have regretted that move, and they continue to this day complaining, maybe worst trade in Red Sox history. Why would you let Mookie Betts get away?
Sure.
It's not necessarily who you let go. It's how do you replace them?
How do you replace them? And I think that's the underlying theme here is that there's not – yes, okay, there's Robbie Snelling and Dylan Lesko and Iriarte and all these guys in the minors. Are they slotting into the rotation in 2024? Not that I'm aware of.
No.
I mean, they could just because of lack of having
there's
literally anybody else.
There's guys out there. There's Jonathan Montgomery's out there. He's not going to cost you what Blake Snell would. He's a pretty good pitcher. Yeah, you got to take a look at guys like that. But I just it's like it's such a crap take to have, but if they re-sign him, I'm like, great, awesome, love Blake Snell. If they let him walk, I'm like, all right, cool.
It's tough because if the timeline was pushed back 1 year, or pushed up a year, I should say, if Snell pitched Cy Young caliber last year, and he did for half the season, but if he had this season last year and his contract was up, and you go on a run to the NLCS, you shake his hand, say thanks for everything, man.
Yeah.
Like, we just went on a great run. We'll restock and we'll come back again next year.
See, I don't know, though.
I mean, this year.
The way he was handing out contracts, I think he probably would have secured himself a bag after last year. The way Jay Cronenworth, God love him. I mean, he got paid for one massive knock. I mean, he got paid for a massive knock. And, of course, he can play different positions and everything else, and he feels like a Padre and all that. And I talked to A.J. Preller about it the next morning. I ran into him. And he said, Jake deserves this. He earned it, right? So I don't know, Paulie. I want Blake to stay too because, frankly, we need the arms. But if they let him go, I will think and especially seeing what he'll get, what the Mets will offer him, what the freaking Mariners would do to have him in their rotation. His hometown of Seattle. I don't know how interesting that would be to him. Probably very. But I just know that it's going to be really, really hard to replace that production next year.
Need a contestant for Take on Woods. Going to play in a couple of minutes. If you want to try to qualify for our trip to Vegas with our musical trivia challenge, head-to-head against Woods, call now 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Ultimately, the Padres changed their lineup a little bit yesterday. I can't say that it necessarily worked. I mean, yes, they won the game. They got 12 hits. Fernando Tatis Jr. had a couple of hits, but the production, the RBIs came from the bottom of the lineup. Garrett Cooper drove in 3. Matt Carpenter drove in the first run of the game with a rare DHing appearance against his old teammate Adam Wainwright. Those two seem perfect together.
They really do.
One guy throwing about 75, the other with a nice swing that looks like it works well against 75. Got a nice standing ovation for Matt Carpenter from the St. Louis fans. Appreciate that. I'm not sure he's got an ovation like that in San Diego all year long.
Snell probably was losing his mind, mowing guys down, getting out of jams, and he's looking at, coach pitch, essentially, with Wainwright on the mound.
We're going up against a guy with a 12 ERA in his last 7 starts. Can we score me some runs, please?
Right. I mean, literal kiss of death for the San Diego Padres and Matt Carpenter getting us on the board. Look, I get it. And they were talking about it on the broadcast. They're like, well, it's below hitting speed. And I'm like, I don't care. It's not. I mean, no. You should be able to.
Other teams have lit him up.
Absolutely.
It's not a position pitcher throwing
and even if
38
it
miles
were,
an hour.
A good team doesn't need their Cy Young ace to pitch a gem to beat Adam Wainwright in the last place Cardinals. That's why yesterday's win doesn't even give me a shred of encouragement.
Right.
You should be able to take your 5th starter. Rich Hill should be able to go out there, and you should be able to put up enough runs to find a way to beat that team. You don't have to waste your best pitching performance of the month just to beat Adam Wainwright and the Cardinals.
Yeah, we don't complain about wins, but we can sure pick them apart a little bit.
I was just going to say, a couple of weeks ago, we were saying, hey, we don't complain about wins. At this point in the year, I was a little upset. I was just a little upset watching that game.
It was
I was like, great, you won. It means nothing.
It was pretty amazing, actually, to watch them flail and flounder against Adam. Adam Wainwright was the most surprised guy in the whole building.
Struck out once, they're making contact.
Yeah.
It's just not squared up. It was just a little pop-up or just over the top of it over and over and over again. And yes, they did get 12 hits, so I can't say they did nothing offensively, but I mean, nothing out of only one extra base hit. They had 11 singles in that game yesterday against they almost hit the bullpen better than they did Wainwright.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Adam Wainwright's best start of the season.
Correct.
Best start of the season.
That's the kind of crap that makes me mad even when we win.
How can you feel good?
I know.
When you face a washed up pitcher.
I know, man.
And he has his best start of the season against you. I know you won the game. That's not a good feeling when you go up against a guy like that. And his manager is going, yeah, we loved what we saw from Wayno, mixing it up.
So great.
As good as we've seen him all year. That's what
and...
Ollie Marmol said after the game. He also said, and Blake Snell, I thought took some good at-bats. We waited him out. We walked 5 times. He's just good.
He's good.
He's just good.
Really good.
Sounded like Bob Melvin sometimes. I don't what do you want to say? He's good. We faced a good pitcher. He was good. We lost again. This is how things have gone for the St. Louis Cardinals this year. They're now 20 games under 500.
That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Padres avoided falling 10 games under. They're back to 8 under at 62 and 70 with exactly 30 games to go this season.
92 and 70.
Do you know?
Great ring to it.
Did you know even if they won though, all 30, so it'd be 31 game win streak to end the season. I went back and looked this up. Over under win total at the start of the season, 93.5. You could already, if you bet the under,
you're cashed on
the Padres. You can go cash it right now because they could go on a 31 game winning streak, and they still would hit the under for their season win total from Las Vegas at the beginning of the year.
That is incredible.
That's how bad it's been.
That's incredible.
You almost never see an over under decided
that
before September. Before September, it's been decided. They can't do anything about it. They could win every single game, and they would still finish under what people thought they would get to at the end of the season.
Keep that little statistical nugget when we have Katie Woo on in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll throw that one in.
And we have a misery off and see who's been more miserable.
Who wins the brownie from Notting Hill?
Yes.
The saddest sack story of the baseball season. All right, we got some contestants on the line. Let's get to today's game. Take on Woods. Oh, we got one of our great champions in Take on Woods standing by. We got Guy. Good morning, Guy.
Hey, good morning, guys.
All right, let's get you into this grand prize drawing for August for a trip for 2 to Vegas at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Tickets to Kool and the Gang. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.com. Of course, you can check out the $70 million in room renovations at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, home of legendary Vegas fun. You get to pick our category today, Guy. Here are your choices. We've got Will Wonders Never Cease, still sitting there. The word wonder, the key on that one. www.musicalartist.com. Those are 5 different musical artists whose last names begin with the letter W. And we got a mystery category thrown in there. You know how that works. So you've got your 3 choices. Will wonders never cease? www and mystery category. Guy, what's it going to be?
Let's try the www.
All right, www.musicalartist.com. Looking for 5 different musical artists whose last names all begin with the letter W. Have 60 seconds to try to get as many as you can. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We'll come back to it. And then Woodsy comes in. He goes to the same 5 questions. You beat our time. We'll put you into the drawing for Vegas. All right, 2-second song is first. Paulie's going to play the music. Don't forget, I need the title of the song and the W artist to score that point. Guy, are you ready to play?
I think so.
All right, let's do it. 60 seconds on the clock. The category, www.musicalartist.com. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Guy. Let's take on Woods.
Lean on Me by Bill Withers.
Correct. Which English singer-songwriter died in 2011 from alcohol poisoning after saying no, no, no to rehab?
Pass.
After flying with
wait. Amy Winehouse.
Correct. After flying with the Eagles, which artist has enjoyed a long solo career with hits including Life's Been Good and In the City?
Joe Walsh.
Correct. Stints with the Spencer Davis Group and Traffic helped which versatile English musician roll with it during a successful solo career?
Pass.
Name the British rock artist best known for his 1984 single Missing You.
What the heck is that guy's name? John Waite.
Yes, it is. Stints with. All right, you got the 4th one there. They always get harder at the end. You know the song "Missing You." If we played it, you'd know the name is like, who's that? John Waite. Steve Winwood was the one you didn't get from Roll With It. That was the little key there. But you got 4 out of 5. Hang on the line. I don't know if it's going to be enough. John Waite might trip him up. Last one might trip him up. I know he's going to get a couple of these. All right. He doesn't get the category either. Guy's score is locked in. One of your great challengers
Guy's
today.
a beast.
Guy's good.
60 seconds,
good,
back
man.
on the clock. Reset our 5 questions. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Guy.
Lean on Me by Bill Withers.
Correct. Which English singer-songwriter died in 2011 from alcohol poisoning after saying no, no, no to rehab?
Amy Winehouse.
Correct. After flying with the Eagles, which artist has enjoyed a long solo career with hits including Life's Been Good and In the
Joe
City?
Walsh.
Correct. Stints with the Spencer Davis Group and Traffic helped which versatile English musician roll with it during a
Steve
success?
Winwood.
Correct. Name the British rock artist best known for his 1984 single "Missing You."
John Waite.
Oh, it was the difference, and Woodsy pulls it out. 5-4.
And I won.
Sorry, Guy. Sorry, good try. Get another chance, but the Steve Winwood got him. And we were just talking about Steve
yesterday.
Winwood.
Yeah.
Yes, I picked Spencer Davis Group for my daily ditty.
What was
and
the
it paid off.
category?
It was W artists: Withers, Winehouse,
had no
Walsh,
idea.
Winwood, and Waite.
Had no idea. That was flying blind.
Yeah,
to
Guy
me.
pulled out Waite at the end. I didn't even know that one. That
John
was
Waite?
That was a tough one.
Love that song.
Missing You? Yeah. I said it's I know the song. I didn't know the artist. I would have never gotten that one.
I ain't missing you at all. It's a jam.
All right.
It's from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles at the end scene, I believe.
Yeah.
One of my faves. Whew.
All right, we got Don't Do This coming up next.
Got a quarterback's wife getting maybe her husband in some hot water.
Ooh. I saw that story.
Yeah, buddy.
You know what? This one I think we can debate about a little bit.
Okay.
Because it's not really fair to just say you can't say anything ever.
True.
But it's not helping the
It's not
quarterback
helping the
either.
cause, yeah.
Interesting. All right, that's coming up next with Ben and Woods. We'll be right back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Got Katie Wu coming up in just a few minutes here, and we're going to play. We're going to try to win the brownie, the saddest sack story of a baseball season. Tired of hunting for the latest clips about the Padres? With the Odyssey app, you can get all the latest podcast episodes all in one place. Easy too. Just download the app, create an account, search for the teams you care about, follow, and boom, just like that, latest from your team right on your homepage. Download the Odyssey app today to get started. I'll get started with Don't Do This with. Well, you had some Twitter video that went viral last night between innings in the 7th inning at Coors Field, I believe, in Denver.
Clean it up.
The Atlanta Braves and the Colorado Rockies. And MVP candidate, Braves outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr., just warming up to start the inning. Bottom of the 7th inning stretch, I think. And had one fan got onto the field at Coors, avoided security, ran out, and basically, wrapped his arms around Acuna to take a selfie.
Yeah, to do a selfie.
Do the selfie shot.
Yep.
And while he's doing that, and he's holding on pretty tightly because security's trying to, two guys in security are trying to rip him off of Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yeah, and Acuna was pretty calm about the whole thing. A lot calmer than I would have been, for sure.
But while this is going on, unbeknownst to security guys, another fan runs directly at all of them and kind of crashes into them at fairly high speed, knocking Acuna to the ground. And then you just have chaos, free-for-all on the field. The one guy that they're trying to drag off is, not going quietly. He's like, okay, you got me. It's not one of those, all right, I'm just going to march off the field to the jail cell here at Coors Field. No, he was, kicking and screaming and trying to get away. It got pretty gnarly. There were a couple of different videos, Twitter feeds that went up. The official Bally broadcast kind of kept professional. They didn't show it up close, just the kind of the wide shot of the commotion on the field. But some shots from fans inside showed what could have really been a scary scene.
Dude, him hitting the ground was
jarring. That was
Fortunately, he was okay, gave a thumbs up, didn't seem too flustered by the whole episode. But you just never know. I mean, I don't know what... I know the criticism of the security was pretty intense on social media last night. Guys, you got to be a little more on top of this. You can't let one, much less two guys, get out onto the field to an all-star outfielder in the middle of the game. But there's no way to stop everyone all the time.
Dude, no, there's not. But there's a lot of space between...
Other than maybe, military sniper up in the rafters.
There's a lot of space between the wall and Acuna. And they got, the security did, I guess, the best they could. But holy cow, man, that could have ended up a lot worse. And hopefully, you tighten the screws a little bit on that.
Faster security guards, perhaps?
Speaking of tightening the screws, holy cow, this was interesting to me. Matthew Stafford, who's the quarterback for the L.A. Rams, his wife has a podcast, which it's called the Morning After with Kelly Stafford, and she has gotten on the podcast and is now exposing some private conversations that Matthew and she have had about some of the youth on the team. And so he comes home, I guess, after a tough practice. He goes, I just don't know how to connect with these guys. So she takes all this info and puts it on her podcast the next day. The quotes were, he's like, I don't know how to lead people I have no connection with. I have to somehow find a way to connect to them. And then she says, it's kind of crazy. He's been in the league a long time. He's like, the difference in the locker room has changed significantly. They have a lot of rookies on their team. They're very young. But he's like, I feel like I can't connect. In the old days, you'd come out of the shower, guys would be playing cards, interacting. Now, they just go to their phones. So I don't know what to do. Am I the dad? Do I take their phones? What do I do here? He's like, I want them to see me not as a coach. They say sir to him and stuff. It's like, no, we're on the same level. We're both playing in the league. Let me get to know you. He said it's so different and so hard to get to know everybody. He had a book printed out with everyone's names and faces. I recommend you, Benjamin Higgins, who 5 years into this here, or 4 years or so at 97.3 The Fan, still on the daily. Hey, who's that?
I know Joss. I definitely know
Rob and Joss.
And I know Rob and John and Tammy down the hall. And definitely 2 or 3 of our salespeople.
And that's about it.
Adam. I know Adam.
Adam and Michael.
Yeah. A couple of our engineers, JR. I'm getting good. I
know
almost a dozen.
On Ben.
I know almost a dozen of the 50 people we work with now.
He had a book made. So guy walks up. Hey, How you doing, Eric? Good to meet you, man. Anyway, it says here you went to Georgia State. What was that like? Put your phone down. I'm just trying to connect with you a little bit. So, again, hey.
Like it's the Little League World Series and his favorite TV show.
Says here you're single, girlfriend. You got.
So it's like it's certainly
He's
not
got
the
a dating profile for every one of his teammates.
It's certainly not the end of the world, right? To let that info out there. But somebody made the point on Twitter. They're like, you know who's really excited about this? Cooper Kupp, because that means he's just going to continue to get all of the balls thrown his way.
I know that guy.
Which he probably would anyway because he's Cooper Kupp, but I thought it was interesting.
I mean, the initial reaction, of course, is, hey, you can't be airing these things out.
Sure.
You're the wife of a famous professional athlete. This needs to stay in-house. But the other side of me says, why? I mean, she's not breaking any laws. I mean, she's not saying anything that's untrue. Her husband's trying to do his best. It's not necessarily a bad thing that players are kind of on their own. That's just the way it is now with the Rams, and she's just saying kind of what's what.
Is that for him to say, or
at the same time, it's probably going to cause him some issues. Reporters are going to ask about it now when the Rams have their next practice, and it's going to be an awkward moment for Matt Stafford. I just don't know. I'm mixed on this.
I know.
I never want to say you can't have a podcast. Well, no, of course she can have a podcast. But then again, how would you like it if someone said, if you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that, you can't talk about our life together, you've got to, I mean,
I get that at least twice a week. So I don't know what you're talking about. My wife is the Matthew Stafford in this situation, and I am the Kelly Stafford in this situation.
All right, I will spin this into a do this, even though it's really more of a don't do this.
Mega do.
It's nice to see the shoe on the other foot, like no double standard here. So in a Frontier League, Independent League Baseball game yesterday, had a 61-minute delay in the first inning, a game between the New York Boulders and the Tri-City Valley Cats. And Boulders player Tucker Nathans got ejected in the first inning, arguing with umpire Warren Nicholson. Well, they started screaming at each other, and it was Nicholson. Players, you cannot make contact with an umpire, you're going to get suspended. Right. It was Nicholson, though, who ended up initiating physical contact with the player, and the other umpires ejected their fellow umpire from the game. I've never seen this before. You're out.
Me?
You saw him, there's video of him walking out center field, like they opened the thing and just walked out of the entire ballpark. Never seen an umpire get ejected from a game before.
Seen a few I'd like to eject, my friend.
There were some interesting stories from this game. Independent League Baseball is crazy. So the manager of the Valley Cats just happens to be Pete Incaviglia.
Oh, yeah, dude, I used to...
What's the famous video of Pete Incaviglia from your youth that you remember from This Week in Baseball? They showed it all the time.
I worked at the restaurant next door to his. Inky's, it was called, in Colleyville, Texas. I don't remember.
He hit a home run and went right through the wall, right?
He hit one
so hard that
Wow.
it broke off the top of the wall.
I remember
that one, yeah. The guy could absolutely
slugger.
mash the ball.
This is a damn good restaurant. You would have loved it.
In the same game, he accused the Boulders of stealing signs with a television camera in center field and had them remove the camera from out in center field. There was apparently a dust-up after the game between both teams around the home dugout, and an umpire was ejected.
That's fantastic.
During one of the wildest, Boulders won it 2-1, but one of the wildest independent minor league games you're going to see.
You get your $9 worth going to one of those games for sure. That is unbelievable. I got to check out one of those games. That sounds incredible. I had no earthly idea he was managing in the
Haven't
Frontier.
heard that name in years.
Bro, his restaurant was so good. So good. Inky's. Right next to the Inky's.
What kind of food did they serve?
Like a sports bar, but higher end. It was much higher end than just your regular old sports bar. It was like fancy. It was like a fancy sports bar.
That.
It was really, really good. Yeah, I worked at the restaurant next door. Used to
did they spell it I-N-K-Y?
Apostrophe S.
Inky's.
Yeah, Inky's. Delicious.
Pete Incaviglia.
Amazing.
In the news.
Texas Rangers legend.
That's Don't and Do This for Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Katie Wu from The Athletic is going to join us next, but it's not our typical
How you doing?
beat writer, team you're facing interview. We are going to have the misery off. We're going to see who has the saddest sack baseball team this season, the Padres or the Cardinals. We're going to make our cases. Katie will make hers for the Cardinals. We'll make ours for the Padres.
She's had to cover that team every single day, just like we have.
And we will compete with Katie when we come back next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Cars.com. Whether you're looking for the perfect summer road trip car or something you can zip around in, visit Cars.com today. They have over 2 million cars for your 2 million summer possibilities. Head to Cars.com, check out the possibilities. Cars.com, where to next? Well, we always enjoy our conversations with Katie Woo from The Athletic, but this one going to be a little bit different. We will explain right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Couple problems here. Westbound 8 before Los Coaches. 3 or 4 vehicles got into it. They're all in the center divide. Now an accident on the transition ramp. Westbound 52 right at the northbound 805 appears to be over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, let's go out to our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline and welcome back one of our show favorites covering the St. Louis Cardinals for The Athletic. Katie Woo is back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning to my 3 favorite radio dudes in San Diego. How are you guys? Nice to see your faces.
We're doing great. Great to see your face as well. I got to ask you off the jump, are you familiar with the movie Notting Hill?
I am not. I'm really bad at movies.
Okay. Well,
That's
listen. Right. In the movie Notting Hill, they have this big fancy
Julia
dinner.
Roberts,
Hugh
Hugh Grant.
Yeah, great movie.
He's a little independent bookstore owner. She's a giant movie star, but they fall for each other and against all odds. They make it work. It's really one of my favorite rom-coms of all time.
Quite embarrassing that the three of us are all huge
Hey,
Notting Hill.
no
She
idea.
has no idea. She's like, no, I watched The Terminator, so it's fine. So there's a scene, Katie, there's one brownie left, and they all have to describe why they deserve the brownie because they're the saddest sack. So we thought it'd be fun. We will actually play for a brownie today. Paulie, play the clip.
We really are the most desperate lot of underachievers. Great. Oh, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. In fact, I think it's something we should take pride in. I'm going to give the last brownie as a prize to the saddest act here.
Okay, the saddest act. The St. Louis Cardinals or the San Diego Padres, Katie? Are you ready to play?
I am so ready. I have notes. I
Okay.
won't show them because my handwriting looks like a serial killer's, but I'm ready to go.
All right, you start.
Okay. We'll start with a basic one that was pretty much evident after that dud of a loss to the Padres yesterday. The Cardinals are now 56-76. They're 20 games under 500 for the first time since 1995. Do you guys know what was not a thing in 1995?
What?
Katie Woo?
I was not a thing. In 1995, there has, in my lifetime, never been a Cardinals team this bad. 20 games under 500, guys. That is hard to do.
All right, that's
a good start.
That's a good start, Paulie. All right, I'll start here for us. We had opening day pushed back 5 hours because of rain in a city where it never rains.
That's an omen, you guys.
Yep.
That's an omen. Okay.
It was like 9 p.m. the night before. We had a whole live broadcast downtown ready to go in like less than 12 hours, and then boom.
We should have known it. I mean, that had to be like,
That
this
was
is
the sign.
the worst omen for this season that we could have possibly had.
All right, Katie's
Yeah, baseball
turn.
gods are like, are you sure?
Yeah, you
You
sure you
want
wanna
to
do
start
this?
There's time to run. All right. John Mozeliak, Cardinals president of baseball operations, has been in this position for 15 years, the only general manager or president of baseball operations, whatever the title is that you choose, that has a longer tenure as Brian Cashman with the Yankees. This is Mo's first losing season in his entire tenure. This is Adam Wainwright's first losing season of this pedigree, this bad, in his entire career. Adam Wainwright, of course, has been here for like 400 years.
Right.
So you have 2 of the most respected names for the Cardinals never experienced in a season like this, and it has not gone well at all for either of those guys.
Ring her up.
I'll go next. You've got the overall record. We know that the Cardinals have a worse mark than the Padres, but it's more about how painful those losses are. Let me give you just a couple of numbers. The Padres are 6-20 in one-run games, 0-10 in extra inning games this year, Katie, and have yet to win 4 games in a row. All season long.
That's like 3 in
the
one,
only
though.
team that has not done that. I mean, even the Oakland A's have a 7-game winning streak, and the Padres have not won more than 3 in a row all season long through 132 games.
Boom. Ring them up.
That's what do you guys do when you go to extras? Do you just turn off the TV?
Yeah,
It's
pretty
just over.
much. It's
Go to
just
bed.
over. It's just game
It's
over.
just how
Like, why
painful
even
is it
play
going to be?
extras at that point if you know what's going to happen?
I didn't even put the batting average in extra innings. The Padres are hitting like 140 in extra innings this season.
Really good.
Yeah, our pinch hitters are hitting 110. So that's not even one on my
That's
list.
not even one. We're not
All
even counting that
Here-
one.
Here I go. I'll combine a couple of these because it's all one player. My beloved and Bo's favorite player on the San Diego Padres is Joe Musgrove, by far. Joe Musgrove dropped a kettlebell on his bare foot at spring training. He burnt his feet by running on hot turf whilst in Mexico and irritated the bursa sacs in his arm by lying in a hyperbaric chamber, rendering him mostly ineffective for the season.
You didn't even mention that he's out for probably the rest of the year with shoulder inflammation and re-injured himself in a rehab start.
Making a hell of a
minor
play
league
on a
game,
dive.
diving for a ball on the mound.
Thank you.
Okay, well, he's athletic.
Very athletic.
That's a positive
That's
you
true.
can take away from that one.
That's true. He's
That's a bummer.
creative.
Creative,
Yeah, creative.
right?
Keeps us on our
not your
toes.
standard imaging results that you have to talk about.
Yes.
Kind of needing to
Alternative
dig in there.
medicines and whatnot. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Oh, Woodsy, you'll love this. Woodsy's favorite player of all time, Yadier Molina, Woodsy just really likes him, as we all know. Played for the Cardinals. His debut year was 2004, and he retired obviously last season. And throughout that 19-year career, he played 24 games total where the Cardinals were not in playoff contention. Total 24 total games. And I think the Cardinals are going to come real close to just getting to that number
Just this year alone. Wow.
Oh my God.
Oh, and I get it. Look, I'm not here to say, oh my gosh, Cardinals fans, they've been suffering for years. Okay, we all know that's not true. But I think the losing in this magnitude is something this fan base just never experiences, and no one's feeling bad for the Cardinals. In fact, I'm pretty sure like 29 other fan bases are like more losing.
We can relate.
It's a good point, though. We're used to losing a little bit more than they are. It's a good one, Katie. Very good. All right,
That's
my
different.
turn. We're playing Who Gets the Brownie, the saddest sack baseball story with Katie Wu from The Athletic. How about this one? For most of the season, not only did the Padres have the worst average with runners in scoring position in baseball, they had the worst average with runners in scoring position in baseball history, hitting under 200 for most of the season with runners in scoring position at any time.
What was the lowest? Like 218?
No, they were at 198 for a while.
No.
The lowest in history
prior to
was
this year.
218. They were 20 points below the lowest in history for
a
much
while.
of the season. Yeah. And they went 0 for 12 on Sunday as well. Just another one. Just all year long.
It's really good. It's that ruthless Milwaukee pitching staff.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Your turn.
Man, guys, we are having some seasons. The Cardinals have not finished in last place in their division for a very, very long time. Every other National League team since 1990 has finished last in their respective divisions at least once. The last time the Cardinals finished last in their division was like, I'm serious, I had to do a double take 3 times to make sure this was right. The last time the Cardinals finished last in their division, World War I.
One.
Oh my God.
Gas was a
Singular.
nickel.
The first one. So.
Holy crap. All right, I got one. We posted a crying Kershaw meme on the scoreboard after beating the Dodgers, which also caused our local paper to side with the Dodgers and demand a press conference from Padres ownership. That happened the very next day. So that was cool.
It was up for about 2 seconds.
It was literally 2 seconds, and it ended the world.
And some people think it led to the entire collapse of the season.
Correct. So that was cool.
I forgot about that.
And we didn't.
Yeah, I know you didn't. All right, I'm going to switch from the record because I think everyone gets just the Cardinals are bad, right? Look at the standings. I'm going to talk about their own PR scandals. They bring up their top prospect, a top 10 prospect in baseball. Jordan Walker makes the opening day roster. Love that. No service time manipulation here.
Right.
Cardinals get off to a horrific start. They have too many outfielders. Fine. They send Jordan Walker down, who at the time was in top 5 in batting average, because he was hitting the ball on the ground too much. He had too high of a ground ball rate. So after 3 weeks in the big leagues, they were like, see ya, Jordan, get the ball in the air. And I understand ground ball rates probably not the best, like, not the best way to judge offense. You want some kind of loft, whatever. But dude was the only guy really getting on base consistently. And then they followed that up 2 weeks later by announcing that their prize free agent acquisition, Wilson Contreras, Yadier Molina's successor, would actually no longer be catching for them for the immediate future. No reasons given. He might play outfield, though, because that's what, because they don't have 40 outfielders already on the roster.
I remember that, man.
And they did that the day before Wilson Contreras was set to return to Wrigley Field for the first time.
Every time you hit the ball on the ground, you owe me 20 push-ups.
Sorry, Katie. Whose turn is it?
I think
Paul's
I
got
think
one.
I've got
Paulie's
the
got
worst
one.
This actually happened in 2023, but we are still getting trolled for it in 2022.
Got trolled this weekend.
Still getting trolled in 2023. We cannot escape the worst thing that's ever happened to the city of San Diego, maybe?
Padres on the loose. Let's go, Goose. That's what's in.
It's still coming
They
back
put
to
it.
hurt us.
They put it on
up
the
in
scoreboard in
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee this weekend
Yeah.
during
Yeah.
the series,
It's
and we got
really-
swept.
It's
of
really
course.
cool.
Got you.
It's really cool.
So cool. We also had forced doubleheader because of a hurricane that never really
In
came
San
through
Diego?
in San Diego. So that was an interesting one a couple of weeks ago. That's all I have.
I got one or two more. Katie, you have any more you want to counter with?
A couple. You guys go first. Let me see if I have any more.
All right.
Any more in the
I've been
chamber.
the king of run differential all
Oh,
season,
God.
so I'll throw in the fact that the Padres are the only team in the bottom half of baseball with a positive run differential, and their expected win-loss, they're 62-70 right now. Their expected win-loss record is 73-59, which would put them 6.5 games up for the final wild card spot.
Amazing.
In the National League. If they had just had a record that is indicative of the runs they have scored and the runs they have allowed this year.
That's painful, you guys.
Very massively.
That's really painful because you can
Massively.
just look at it and be like, what if?
What happened?
if?
How did it happen?
Okay, I can't believe I forgot about this one, but this should have been like my omen. This should have been my sign. So the Cardinals have had there's 30 games left. They have 30 games left in their schedule. So 132 games. Of those 132 games, they have spent one singular day over 500. That was the third game of the year. And then 2 days later, right when you could maybe turn it around, Tyler O'Neill didn't hustle.
Yes.
Maybe he did hustle.
Yes.
Rounding third base. This is game 5.
Game 5.
And was called out by manager Ollie Marmol. And the line was, there's a standard and it's here. And he pointed way above his head. And if you don't meet it, you don't play. So not only did that set off a firestorm because, I appreciated it from a media standpoint, manager is being honest, but obviously your player that you're calling out is not going to like that. Started this huge war. And on my birthday, so I couldn't even go out and get like drinks with my friends after work. I had to write about on the 5th game of the season, their outfielder not hustling because it was maybe slippery outside. And since that day, they haven't even come close to 500. So
That's amazing.
that was my omen.
I'm going to finish with a weird one.
Okay.
Katie, the Padres have been involved in, I believe, 7 blocking the plate challenges this year. They have lost every single one of them, including one in San Francisco that cost them the game when the Giants runner was out by 10 steps. Yet Gary Sanchez got called for blocking the plate, even though he was waiting about 8 seconds for the guy to come and finally get to home plate to be tagged out to end the inning.
0 for 7 in that.
That's really good.
I will say, as the fair and impartial judge, frankly, the three of us don't need any more brownies. You can have the brownie. You win the brownie for saddest sack. I think weirder things have happened to us, but I think just more losing has happened in St. Louis, which is kind of hard to believe. Based, I was talking about it earlier, Katie. I'm looking at the lineup last night going, these guys aren't scrubs. I mean, these guys are good baseball players. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it certainly has been a really interesting season for both of us.
It has been interesting, you guys, and I will happily share that brownie with you and also our beloved Dennis Lynn, who
Perfect.
You know what? And the whole Padres media, I love those guys. I'll share it. I'm a sharer. If it makes you feel any better, Adam Wainwright did say yesterday after his start that the Padres will probably somehow win 104 games next year. So I guess I'll see you guys in the NLCS.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
Sounds good.
I would like that. We'll see you soon when you guys come to town. Little tailgate action.
This offseason, you really should watch Notting Hill, though. It's a very,
Very
sweet
good. Very
movie.
sweet film.
Very good.
Very sweet.
Gonna bring a smile to your face.
I'll have a lot of spare time.
Yeah,
so,
we all will. We all
I'll add it
will.
to my list.
October. You've got all October off unexpectedly.
Thank you so much
Thanks,
for your
Katie.
time
Thanks,
participating in our dumb games. Congratulations on your brownie, and we will see you very
Thank you.
soon. Okay.
You got it, guys.
Bye-bye.
Katie Wu on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. We brought the heat in that game.
Yeah, we did. I mean,
Yeah.
I still had some that I didn't even read. I had Austin Nola hit in the face in spring training and doesn't play baseball anymore. That's very,
I
very
did
weird.
not have the Padres have scored double digits, I think 12 times. Half the times they followed it with 0 or 1 runs the
Yep.
next game.
I had the Padres cable network Bally Sports filed for bankruptcy,
Yeah.
leaving people scrambling to then watch the games somewhere.
And the one that I gave you this morning, if you had bet the Padres over win total of 93.5, you've already lost.
You lost.
And it's not even September yet. They could win every game the rest of the season, and you're not cashing that bet.
That was a fun exercise in futility between the Cardinals and the Padres, who again square off today, Ben.
Game 2 of the 3-game series. Seth Lugo on the mound against Zach Thompson. I believe a left-hander who they have pulled out of their bullpen to make some starts.
Fantastic.
Because they've gone through a lot of pitching injuries this year as well.
Traded a lot of pitchers too. Yeah, traded a bunch.
So that's another 4:45 start with a 3:45 pregame show with Sam Levitt this afternoon here on 97.3 The Fan.
Now, I'm reticent to tease it because I fear people may tune out. But if my partner doesn't get to tell you about the Ryder Cup selections,
9:52.
if he doesn't at least get to tell you about them, you should have seen him. He was like tapping his feet. He wanted
Katie
to do
was
it
in the
before.
Zoom
Katie was in
ready
the
to
Zoom
go.
ready. He's like, "Can I just do it quickly?"
Zach Johnson made his picks.
They're in.
They're spicy.
They are spicy.
Spicy selection.
So you can name the picks now, and then at 9:30, 9:50, we'll talk about them.
All right. Fair
Okay?
enough.
Deal?
Fair enough.
All right.
We'll have those for you when we come back.
Yes.
Jesse Agler will join us in our 8 o'clock hour.
Yes. What a show.
We won't play the game with him, though. The brownie game.
No.
We're all on the same side.
Yeah.
On that one. We all deserve a brownie. But Jesse will play the incorporator, so we'll give him his word for today's game, today's broadcast that he'll be on with Tony Gwynn Jr. in St. Louis from New Bush.
New Bush.
Padres don't win a lot.
At New Bush.
But they got the win yesterday.
At Bush. Okay, New
Bush. All right, we'll come back. More Ben and Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we are halfway home on a Tuesday. Ben and Woods 97.3. The Fan, thanks so much for being here. Couldn't do what we do without you guys that listen every day, make it a priority to listen. Really, really appreciate that. Frankly, I don't want to get a real job, so this is perfect. So keep listening. Would be great.
Moreno in the chat says, cool segment there with Katie. We're a little PTSD, but all good. I had a lot of fun with that.
I did
with
too,
Katie.
man.
She was great.
That was a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
Louise says, I love her. Is she single? You can't ask that,
Bunch of
Louise.
Bunch of creeps in there.
Corn
dude.
dogs in the
God
chat.
bless,
Good
man.
She's our friend. Be respectful.
Yeah.
I'll be respectful of all of our guests, but Katie especially. She's always been great.
She's just the best. Just the best. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindels, our executive producer, and Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor as well. And he is bursting at the seams right now. Look at him.
Here we go.
I love golf too, but holy cow.
Ryder Cup coming up later this month in Italy. U.S. versus Europe. It's not over yet.
We haven't done that in a long time.
And today's the day where the captain's picks were made by Zach Johnson. And there was some spiciness. Now, 6 players qualified on points. Scotty Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, Brian Harmon, Patrick Cantley, Max Homa, and Xander Schauffele were already in. But that left a number of 6 other spots that had to be decided today. And the choices were Colin Morikawa, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth. I think all 3 of those were pretty locks and obvious picks. Sam Burns, Justin Thomas, and Brooks Koepka from Live Tour and the PGA champion this year will be playing in the Ryder Cup. There was some speculation that not going to let a Live player come over and play for the Ryder Cup, but Zach Johnson used one of his captain's picks on Brooks Koepka.
Love it.
You know, he's had a good year.
We'll
he's won a
950.
major, but
Yeah,
okay, well, that's fine. Never mind. We're done.
You got your picks out.
And then Justin Thomas has had a terrible year.
Terrible.
He didn't even make the FedEx Cup playoffs, but he's in.
He's in.
Because he's been good in the Ryder Cup before.
Yeah.
That's spicy, too. We can talk about it later.
Yeah, 9:30. We'll get into it.
Okay.
Give you all the space you need to breathe. Because I have opinions on it as well. So a lot of opinions. A lot of spicy opinions floating around. A lot of spicy opinions on Paulie's tweet. He said earlier, do you want to see Blake Snell back in a Padres uniform in 2024? What kind of contract would you be comfortable with him getting? A lot of response to this, man. No more AJ. Shirtless Whitson, very, very smart baseball fan, says, man, this team has made me super pessimistic about handing out contracts to guys who just had career years. Doesn't seem like anyone shows up the next season. I think that is a massively, massively valid point. I really do. Is Blake Snell going to be the outlier? I don't know. I don't.
Like somebody has
know.
to eventually.
You would think
perform,
so
right?
at some point.
Can we all agree that if there was no consideration about money or years,
Yeah, 100%.
everyone would
Of
want
course.
Blake Snell
Yes.
back?
You don't want him anywhere
1 year
else.
minimum deal, of course.
Of
So
course.
it's not a question of talent or whether the Padres need him. Both are absolutely 100% true. Padres need pitching. Blake Snell is a really good pitcher who we would all love to see back with the San Diego Padres. The question is, you only have a certain number of spots in your rotation. You're going to have to commit to him for multiple years at probably a pretty insane amount of money if you're going to bring him back. And would those resources be better allocated somewhere else than Blake Snell this offseason?
I mean, it's so funny because the way I look at it is like, well, why stop now? It's like, well, why stop now? I mean,
Yeah.
it is.
It ain't my money.
Why would you change what you've been doing? Why would you change what you've been doing? Right? I mean, look, they're not developing players right now. There's some guys that people are high on, and their prospects are high on some lists, Baseball America and whatnot. Yeah, Mad Friars ranks these guys. Sure, bro, forgive me. I remember a time we had just gotten together and we sat in here and we absolutely took our pants off about Joey Lucchesi and Eric Lauer. And, I mean, the list goes on and on.
Espinoza.
The picture of all the guys out to dinner, and it was like Hunter Renfroe, and it was Carlos Asuaje and Austin Hedges. I'm sorry. I'm having a very... You guys, some people are not comfortable giving out massive contracts. I'm not super comfortable going, okay, well, we'll wait. Let's wait. Because those other guys, that international class, by the way, Most money ever spent has netted us nothing. Zero. Nada. And I'm sitting here going, so now it's going to work? Now we're going to develop guys. Cool. I'm kind of the opinion of if you can't develop, you got to go out and spend money. You have to. I mean, and poor Peter Seidler, it's like...
It's fair enough, but you spend a ton of money to bring back Blake Snell. Heck, as long as money's no object, let's bring back Josh Hader. You got a good closer.
Gary Sanchez.
Bring back Gary Sanchez.
Extend Ha-Seong Kim.
All right.
Extend Juan
All
Soto.
right, you've done that. You've spent probably now you
$1
have
billion.
You probably now have the highest payroll in baseball because the Mets have scaled back a little bit. So you're going to have the number one payroll in baseball. And what you've accomplished is to bring back the most disappointing team in the history of San Diego Padres baseball.
I think
it's going to take the number one payroll in baseball just to bring this exact group that you have right now.
All these
that
dudes.
is 8 games under 500 and out of playoff contention before September. And if you spend the most money in baseball,
you get to
have that same team back.
It's wild.
That disappointed everybody next year.
It's wild when you put it that way. And all I heard all year from all the experts, the smartest guys way smarter than us, is guys, it's going to turn around. It's going to. The law of averages says that it has to. It never did. It never did. Now, they could rip off 30 in a row and we all look like idiots. I don't think it's going to happen.
And we just heard Katie Wu say, well, next year then it's going to turn around. Adam Wainwright says Padres will probably win 104 games next year because that's how baseball is.
That's how baseball works.
It could absolutely happen. They could bring back the same team and win 100 games next year and win a World Series. But is anyone going to feel good about spending $300 million on a roster to bring back a team that is probably not going to even finish 500 this year?
Now, when we're talking about Snell, you brought up the point earlier in the show. He seemed like the kind of guy that gets paid and then puts too much pressure on himself and doesn't perform next year. Mike has kind of the opposite. He says 6 for 100 would be like his max. He's comfortable. Even earlier this year, said he finally feels comfortable here. Blake, to me, doesn't seem like the contract would get to him. He's already incredibly hard on himself and just wants to pitch. Having his future secured probably helps him.
I mean, it sounds great. That sounds fantastic. It sounds like the perfect fairy tale.
6 for 100. You do it?
It's not me, and it's not even Blake.
Okay,
it's
do you think
Boris
that's feasible
Corp.
for the Padres?
Yeah, they could do that.
Yeah, if that was the deal, I'd have to think pretty hard about it. That's less than $20 million a year. You can't get anyone good for less than $20 million a year. That's not going to happen.
I would have to agree.
That's less than Joe's getting right now.
Would it be
Blake's going to be a Cy Young candidate?
Right.
Going to free agency, he goes, I'll take less than the deal that Joe got,
guys,
to stay here.
It would be the greatest thing ever if just one time a guy goes, you know what? I got more money I know what to do with. I love playing for the Padres, and I'm a Padre for life. And Tony Gwynn did it. I mean, it's been
Nelson
done.
Cruz kind of did it this year.
If 100 is the total, it's like a 3-year deal, not a 6-year deal.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe he would do shorter years. I doubt it. Because then you got to test free agency when you're 33. Yeah. I mean, it's just going to get tougher and tougher. But it sounds so great. And it sounds so perfect. And yes, we know how much comfort's a factor. You know what makes a man very comfortable? $30 million a year. You can get really comfortable, whether it's in Milwaukee or Kansas City or Miami or New York. For $30 million a year in Texas, there's no state income tax. Down there pitching, just having a ball, right? I'm comfortable here. Yeah, you know why? Because you got $30 million this year. What's he making this year? Like 12?
You say that, but we see plenty of examples of guys who get a big contract, and I don't think it's because they get complacent. I think it's because they put additional pressure on themselves with the additional money.
16 this year.
Making 16 this year. Double it. Double it to come pitch in your hometown of Seattle.
5 for 50 with the Rays.
Double it to go play with Francisco Lindor and play in the Big Apple, pitching for the Mets. Double it to put on the pinstripes, go pitch for the Yankees with Garrett Cole. That's a pretty formidable 1 and 2, right? I mean, you can get really comfortable at 30 a year. The one thing we always forget, too, is this. It makes sense, but Blake Snell, let's say he wins the Cy Young, right? Or even the ERA title. I mean, he's going to be due a big payday. He does a massive disservice to every other pitcher. He's like, it's cool. I'll do 2 years, $20 million, stay in San Diego. I mean, Ozzie Albies still gets roasted, I'm sure, by players for just signing the terrible deal. Great for the Braves. Yeah, you'd love to see more guys do that here in San Diego to stay and build and go win World Series like the Atlanta Braves are in a really good position to do. It's just an outlier. It's just not something that happens a ton. And it really doesn't happen in Boris Corp. It just doesn't. So could I see them absolutely overpaying for Blake Snell? Yeah, I could. I absolutely could. Could I? It's more likely that that happens than them just letting him walk.
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
What in the last 5 years
has led me to
shown
believe
you that they'll just wipe their hands and say thanks.
Now they'll get financially prudent now, and that's what after this season. Imagine if you're Peter Seidler right now, Ben. You're sitting in your office. Maybe you're even listening to Ben and Woods, and your options are: let the Cy Young Award winner and the best reliever in baseball go, and then trade one of the best hitters in baseball in Juan Soto to restock, or spend an assload of money, an absolute truckload of money. That's pretty much your options. And by the way, you've thrown so much money out in the last 5 years. Now you're going to stop? And then people, the media, the fans going, wait. Now you're going to stop? Yes, last year was an outlier. We can win it all this year. Now you're going to stop? You're in an impossible position.
If I'm Peter Seidler and I'm walking around downtown with my earbuds in listening to Ben and Woods right now.
Hi, Peter.
I know I want to win, and I'm willing to spend to win. And if I'm keeping A.J. Preller, I want to know, before I spend that next big check on Blake Snell or Josh Hader or anyone, why are we going to get better? Give me the reason why.
How and why?
Why the players who underperformed this year will bounce back. And don't just tell me it's just baseball. Things will even out. I need something more than things will even out.
The problem
to make
is
that commitment.
The players that have underperformed this year, that have led the Padres to be so bad, they're all locked up.
Of course,
it's the players that are not locked
and
up.
You're going to need them, and you're going to
need
need those guys to play well next year.
Kim,
Otherwise,
Snell.
Otherwise, spending money on Blake Snell isn't going to do you any good at all. If Xander Bogaerts has another really disappointing year and Manny doesn't perform up to Manny standards, I don't think it matters who you sign as a pitcher. You need those guys to bounce back. Why are those guys? How are you going to help those guys bounce back and figure out how they're going to have a better season? And if you give me a really good reason, like here's the plan, here's who we're going to hire.
We just bought Driveline. We're putting it in
This
below.
is what we're going to do. Everyone's going to exceed their expectations next year. I say, all right, then we need pitching. And I know Blake Snell can give it to us, so I'm going to spend more money on that. But until you give me a reason why the players you've already signed are underperforming, if you just shrug your shoulders and go, I don't know why.
Hey,
why would you trust that guy to give any more money out?
If we all thought the pressure of this season with the new contracts, the NLCS appearance, if the pressure of this year was too much, wait till you see how this season finishes. And if it ends up like we think it is, how much pressure is going to be on these guys, the same guys for the most part, next year to not do this
I said it
for
yesterday.
the third time?
Opening day is going to feel like Game 7 of the
really
World
will.
Series. If it's tied 2-2 on opening day against the Dodgers
I'm going to be
in Korea,
screaming for the manager's
at
head.
4 a.m., and we're going like, all right, it feels like the whole season's on the line here. Is this going to be a repeat of last year, or are they going to figure out how to win some close games? I hate that. I hate that feeling.
Well, I mean, that's what the players are going to feel too.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take
predicament.
We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back. Going to give away another 4-pack of tickets to Bert Kreischer, comedian coming to Pechanga Arena. Hot item. Your chance to win is coming up here on Ben and Woods. And then Jesse Agler will make his weekly Tuesday appearance. Voice of the Padres will join us. It is all coming up on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This segment of Ben and Woods brought to you by the Golf Mart. We'll be right back. I forgot to ask Katie to pass along a grievance to the managers of The Athletic for me while she was on. Not that it's a big deal, but The Athletic came out with their preseason college basketball top 25 yesterday.
I saw this little snub action.
You didn't put San Diego State in the top 25.
Did you? That's an oversight, right? Somebody forgot.
I don't know. I mean,
you can't throw them like a cursory 20
they've been
seconds.
like 12, 13, 18, and a lot of the other
that's
early
top 25.
polls. And I can make the argument. Yeah, they went on a run, a little over their heads last year to the national championship game, but they're bringing back 60% of their starting lineup. The Final Four star in Lamont Butler. They've reportedly seem to have really good guys that are coming up, and got a great coach in Brian Dutcher. It's disrespectful to not at least throw them a top 25 nod to start the season. I mean, you always say, well, you got to earn your respect in college basketball. Well, you just got to the national championship game. If that doesn't earn you respect,
dude,
what is left?
I mean, it's not like they beat some really good teams.
I got it before this year. Yeah, you've never made it past the Sweet 16.
Yeah, Loyola the next year probably shouldn't have been in.
Show it to me.
I wonder if they were. I wonder if Loyola was top 25
the next year. I don't know.
I don't know either.
How many teams have made it?
That's the last time I followed Loyola.
It's not like every single. I mean, maybe you have a team where every senior has graduated, and we got a bunch of unknown freshmen taking over, but this is not the case. The Aztecs should be bringing back a very good team, expected to, probably win the Mountain West and go to the NCAA tournament. I mean, everything screams top 25 again about that team. So I was a little surprised yesterday when I saw them snubbed and left off that list.
Well, in more SDSU news, you remember the story I did yesterday, and don't do this, Ben, about the fake charity.
The fake Chula Vista Fast Pitch charity.
Yeah, Chula Vista Fast Pitch. Okay, not a real charity. They've been operating as such at Petco Park, and now comes out today they've also been operating at Snapdragon Stadium.
Oh, why wouldn't they be?
After we asked SDSU about it Friday, officials asked the Chula Vista Fast Pitch for proof of nonprofit status. They had none. Ben and Wood's next golf tournament brought to you by
Chula Vista Fast Pitch.
That we will not be working with Chula Vista Fast Pitch. That I promise you.
All proceeds go toward Chula Vista Fast Pitch.
It's just Paul. It's just Paul's face on the website. Yeah, dude, that's not good. That is not good. Scammers, man. Stealing from charities.
Yeah, I think the question is how much culpability, responsibility do the Padres, do the Aztecs?
I think a lot.
Hold in. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they're getting scammed too, are they the victims? I think they're the victims here.
Yeah.
They're trying to do good things and give money back to charity, where you have charities sign up to work the concession stands and earn money for their charity. Maybe more due diligence is necessary, but I certainly don't think there's anything nefarious going on with the Padres or the Aztecs.
Oh, no.
They're kind of victims as well in this scam.
I don't think nefarious is the word I was looking for there. But yeah, I think you have to vet your charities and whatnot. And but yeah, what a
I like to be fairly trusting, and apparently it existed at some point, and you show, hey, here's our documentation, we're a charity. Do you have to hire a private investigator now, like to look into every single charity to make sure it's legitimate?
It's like what Scott just said. They needed proof of nonprofit, and so they didn't have it, so they're out. Holy cow, man! That's scandalous. That is scandalous. That's bad stuff right there. You don't want to do that.
No,
you don't want to steal from charity.
Not good at all.
Not good at all.
Last night in Major League Baseball, we had a cycle. Jose Altuve hit for one at Fenway Park. If you're going to hit for a cycle,
that's the spot.
Hitting a home run over the monster for the cycle is a pretty cool way to do it.
And they got that deep center field. Ball can rattle around and they get you a nice triple.
Yep, you got one of those too.
Yep.
We had another 4-hit game for Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners. The guy he's
white hot.
His team is hot, and he is white hot. That's the 5th 4-hit game for him in the last 10 games.
That's unfathomable.
Paulie and I looked it up. In the last 10 games, Julio Rodriguez has more hits than Austin Nola had all season for the San Diego Padres. That's how hot he's been lately. The wild card race, not the Padres particularly, but the Giants pulled within a half a game of Arizona with a 4-1 win. Dodgers beat the Diamondbacks 7-4, so they're separated by a half game for the last spot. The Cubs are just a half game ahead of the Diamondbacks for the second spot, so it's still very tight. The Brewers beat the Cubs 6-2. Now, not just the Padres losing to the Brewers. They've won 9 in a row. So they've been
What's
doing
that
this to everybody right now, not just the San Diego Padres over the weekend. That is a legitimately hot baseball team. And then the Mariners stayed just a game ahead of the Rangers and the Astros. The Rangers also beat the Mets 4-3 in a very tight American League West race.
They're
coming into the final month of the season.
And they're going to be playing each other a bunch, I think, in the next couple of weeks. If I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of games between those top 3 teams, Ben, in the West. The West is going to be nuts coming down the stretch, and it's going to be interesting to see who makes it. And, you talked about it last week with the Rangers collapse coinciding with the Mariners getting white hot. Imagine the Texas Rangers not making the playoffs. I mean, it's a distinct possibility that the Texas Rangers don't make the playoffs if they don't turn around their season right now, which would be as excruciating as it's been. We've lived through that, though. We lived through not a season like that where you had that many wins.
So right now they're tied for the second wild card with Houston. 5.5 games behind the first wild card, Tampa. They're 2.5 games ahead of the Blue Jays. So their cushion, which was massive before,
huge
is now just 2.5 games.
Nuts.
If they get caught by the Blue Jays, they could get knocked out of the playoffs entirely.
Which would be unbelievable. That's worse than what we've gone through, or no?
Maybe. I mean, they've got a plus 173 run differential this year. Now, they've got a 17 games above 500 record.
Right.
But if they blow it, that's more than a once in a century collapse. That's enormous what they've given up this year.
They have given, and again, coinciding with the Mariners just getting ridiculously hot, which is fun. I mean, it's fun. They're a fun team to watch. But so are the Rangers. All those teams are pretty interesting to watch. The NL wild card is going to be a bit of a different story. With the Padres, I think we went up to 2.9% chance to make the playoffs, which is way down from the 82 or 89% chance where we started the season. It's quite a drop.
Quite a bit drop.
That's quite a bit of a drop.
Fairly massive.
It's going to be an interesting race coming down the stretch. I'm looking at the contenders, man, and I'm just like, I got no idea.
People always go, well, when are they really mathematically eliminated? Not for a while. The A's were only mathematically eliminated yesterday.
Correct.
They were the first team to be mathematically eliminated from the playoff contention.
They've won 38 games, and have lost 94.
Padres have won 24 more than that. It'll be a while before mathematical elimination actually comes. This is more, what do you really believe your team can do? They're 7 games back of a playoff spot with 30 to play. Yeah. Again, if they rattled off 10 wins in a row, they could get themselves back into contention fairly quickly. But I mean, we'd be insane to think that's going to happen at this point.
Well, especially with
Darvish
down and Musgrove down.
2 pitchers down. It just makes no sense to do it now after you haven't been able to win 4 in a row all season long.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to give away these Bert Kreischer tickets. Got a 4-pack to give away if you want to see him performing at Pechanga Arena on October 1st. Tickets are on sale now at access.com, AXS.com, but you can win a 4-pack right now by being the third caller at 833-288-0973. Third caller wins Bert Kreischer tickets, 833-288-0973. Then we'll come back with our weekly visit with Jesse Agler, the voice of the Padres, play the Incorporator. All coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by South Norte Tequila Cocktails. Real tequila, real juice. Savor South Norte Premium Tequila Cocktails. Sip on a classic margarita, on authentic Paloma. Pop the top on the Mexican Mule and savor the Matador. Available at Stater Brothers, Ralph's, and more. And with that, let's just go straight out to St. Louis, California. We are joined right now by our friend Jesse Agler, the voice of the Padres, here on 97.3 The Fan. That's an old flub of mine, Jesse. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it's definitely not California.
No, although it's a little sticky here. I imagine it's probably a little sticky there, too.
Unseasonably comfortable, I think is the way I described it last night. Yeah, it was a beautiful evening. I think the first time I've ever been to St. Louis where the weather was not oppressive. So I appreciate that.
I don't know that you'll answer it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It's got to be near the bottom tier of places you like to travel. Yeah. Okay. All right. He answered. All right. Good.
Quietly under his breath.
Here's another one. I listen to you all the time, as you know. Jesse. And I was driving the other day, and I listened to you guys did a.
You tweeted that you were listening to him, and Jesse tweeted back at you yesterday.
Yes, thank you. But I was listening the other day, and they did the listener question for Jesse and Tony.
Question of the day.
And I got so excited because it was the desert island question, and it was a two-parter. And it was, all right, Jesse, you're stranded on a desert island. Do you want Mud or do you want Dawn? And what album would you take with you? You never answered the album question. You don't have one album
I didn't hear this, but I've got to imagine that Don is the pick. He can cook for you.
Don was the pick.
He's not going to be showing you YouTube videos the whole time.
You might have to go spear the fish and get it, but he'll be able to cook it up.
Don was the pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
We actually, I mean, first of all, this went on for like both halves of the fifth.
It was so good, by the way.
And I originally, I was all about Don, for a lot of reasons. And then, Tony kind of was like, well, and he stated his case for Mud. And I think where we landed on it was the size of the island would determine who you pick.
Correct.
So if it was like, those New Yorker cartoons where it's just like the island
the
with
tiny
a palm tree and that's it,
one tree,
then
and
you would go Don, right? That would be Don. But if the island were big enough that if you needed to get away for a little while, you could, then the pick would be Mud, because Mud's going to be very entertaining. He's going to keep your spirits up.
Yeah,
he's
energy.
very caring and loving, energy, all that you're going to need to survive on this island. But if you're talking about like 10 square feet, probably going to be a bit much. So we kind of landed there that if it's a small island, you're going Don. If it's a larger island, you're going Mud.
Reading a legal disclaimer on a desert island is not really going to do much for you. That's not a skill.
But the skill that he said that Don has is Don knows essentially when to just keep his big trap shut and just sit. He's able to sit in silence. And Mud.
Look, I know Don likes to cook and fish, and I do too. I don't know that the skills he has translates to like Tom Hanks in Castaway. Okay, there's not going to be a fancy rod and reel.
Yeah.
He's not going to have his cast iron skillet and his lovely Coronado kitchen.
That's a good point.
We're going to be out there in the elements. So we kind of disregarded that piece of it. I can cook, that's fine. But can any of us make a fire? I'm not sure. The real answer is we'd probably all be dead within a week.
3 days.
What's the answer when the question is Ben or Woods?
I think it's obvious.
You do.
He'd pick you.
Really?
Yes.
I think you're the pick.
No, he'd pick you.
You're like the Mud, though. You'd be like, if I had enough space to get away from Woods a little bit, he'd be much more entertaining than I would.
That's true. I could entertain you.
You could. Yeah, just do accents the whole time.
I could do my Boston accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could get
That's
tiring.
What you want on a desert island.
Yeah. Oh, God, this island's freaking hot. I'm burning up here. So no album. You had no musical choice at all.
I like my musical taste.
I know, but one record, like Thriller, Michael Jackson, like anything.
I don't need music.
Good Lord,
Take
this is unbelievable.
Me to the
Yeah, it's just a bunch of renditions of "Take Me
Can I
Out
have
to
a
the Ball Game."
shortwave radio to pick up like
well, play-by-play.
Cardinals KMOX?
Just had that guy sing for you.
Fantastic. Well, Jesse, it's good to talk to you after a win. Certainly, you never want to say you're out of it until you're actually out of it. The only team, as Ben just let everybody know, to be mathematically eliminated so far the Oakland Athletics, and we are way better than them. That's our record is way better than theirs. So I guess technically we are still in it. Was an interesting win yesterday. Watching them, get some singles off of Adam Wainwright, but really not much else until the big bats of Matt Carpenter, Garrett Cooper came through when we needed him to.
I mean, that's everything you need to know about baseball.
Yep.
We have to all, and I put myself in this, we have to all stop acting like we know anything that's going to happen on a given night. It's just not how this sport works. Forget a given night. It's just not how the game works, even on a macro level. And obviously this season is a pretty good example of that. Every once in a while, predictable things do happen. But, the two teams you think are going to be in the NLCS, probably not going to be in the NLCS. The two teams you think are going to be in the World Series, probably not going to be in the World Series. I mean, maybe. And on a night-to-night basis, you can look at all the pitching matchups you want, and you can look at all the who's hot and who's not that you want. The only thing we know about baseball is that when we think we know about baseball, it turns around and smacks us in the face. And I think, that's like an important thing to always keep in mind. This is just the most volatile of sports. And going into the game yesterday, Adam Wainwright with his 13 ERA and Blake Snell being, a legitimate Cy Young frontrunner right now, you would have thought the Padres were probably going to cruise to victory, score a bunch of runs, as they have in so many of their wins this year. And, that all the big guys would go off and do their thing. No, like you said, it was Garrett Cooper and Matt Carpenter leading the way in a tight one. You had Josh Hader out there in a save situation for the first time in how knows long. That's baseball, man. That is like the way this game goes. And again, every time you think you know something, it reminds you really don't know much at all.
Talking to Jesse Agler here this morning on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline, and we've had a lot of discussion about Blake Snell after another great performance, lowest ERA in baseball, also continuing to lead in walks. And we just can't get around the fact that if the Padres don't re-sign him, we feel like we're going to miss him badly and they need pitching, but we're also worried that if they do re-sign him, that's another long-term deal with a guy who may be already at the peak of his career and heading toward the other side, Jesse. What's your thoughts on Blake Snell long-term?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything you just said. It's not like an automatic slam dunk. I mean, I love Blake, and having him back would be great. But, a couple of other factors you didn't even throw out there, which is that in free agency, it takes two to dance. And, he's going to get paid. Let's be very clear about that. He's going to get paid a lot of money. So, look, I've always said as a sports fan, it ain't my money. If the owner wants to go out there and do it, hey, more power to you. We appreciate that. And, we've kind of seen that over and over again with the Padres here, obviously, in recent years, which is really lovely. But, it's going to take a major financial commitment, I would imagine, for any team to sign Blake Snell for next year. He is, going out there and having one of the best years of his career at the exact right time to do so. And so if we want to commit years and money to him, by all means. How doable is that within the constraints of like a realistic baseball budget that I'm sure does exist? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. But, Scott Boras is not going to give you a coupon for 25% off. That's not going to happen, I don't think.
Yeah.
So Blake's going to get his.
Yeah, I got a text from somebody in the know-ish this morning that said, expect like a Carlos Rodon type deal for Blake Snell. And I thought to myself, yeah, and I believe
6'1",
62, and I think Blake is younger than Rodon, if I'm not mistaken, and obviously has not gone well for him in New York. He was injured, just kind of making his way back. But yeah, it's look, again, so glad I don't have to make these decisions, Jesse, when it comes to I did wonder, how odd and jarring would it be for all of us? Take our jobs out of it. How odd and jarring will it be? Because I think it will happen at some point when Peter Seidler says, enough. I cannot do another 10-year deal. My thing this morning was, well, I mean, that's kind of what you've been doing. It'd be weird to kind of change it now, don't you think?
Well, I think everything is always changing, right? What the plan was 2 years ago is a little bit different than the plan last year and a little bit different than the plan this year. And I know it's easy to look back at the big contracts they've handed out and just sort of paint with a very broad brush and say that's how the Padres operate. I think that's probably overly simplistic. I can tell you for a fact that, the names like Jackson Merrill, Nathan Mortarella, Jacob Marcy, guys that probably most fans have either never heard of or aren't thinking about with any kind of regularity, those kinds of names, along with Ethan Salas, who's probably a year behind him, factor in very, very heavily into the plans for this organization beginning next year, I would think. Like, they're all going to be in camp in spring training. You could very well have some of those guys make their big league debuts early next season or at some point next year. So it's not that they're just going to go out there forever and do like the Nelson Cruz thing and, like the big 10-year max contract thing with certain guys. Like, there is young talent coming. Those guys are all prospects, by the way, for those who hadn't heard of them. And they believe very deeply in those guys' abilities and those guys coming up and making an impact at the major league level and sort of, filling in around the edges of what is obviously a long-term core here with Manny and Fernando and Bogart. So it's not just that they're always going to operate the way they have been operating. Write those names down, remember them. Now, I'm not going to predict how they go in the big leagues because I'm not a scout. And as we just discussed, nobody ever knows how anything's going to go in this damn sport. But, those are names to remember. Those are names to keep in mind because, like I said, the Padre plan forever is not to just fill it up with guys from outside the organization.
All right, Jesse, let's get to the incorporator. Woods has got our word for you this week. If you haven't heard it before, Jesse takes a crazy vocabulary word and then weaves it into that evening's broadcast with Tony Gwynn Jr.
Brilliantly.
Here on 97.3 The Fan. Last week it was Aglet.
Aglet.
Just like a whole graphic was made up of this thing.
Did you
I don't
see
know
the
if you saw
graphic?
it.
The
Yeah.
Agler's Aglets?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the Wolf Pack. It's going to be your new fan section at Petco Park.
I think it needs
3
to happen.
people will be holding up their sign.
It'll be me, Paul, and Ben.
We'll be right there in the Agler's Aglet section.
All right, I was under the gun here, but here's the word.
Nemophilist.
Nemophilist.
I didn't catch that.
One more time.
Nemophilist.
Did you select the jumble mouth, the marble mouth guy?
Dude, you gave me the word like
I
30
did.
seconds
I was under the
ago.
gun. I just said.
It's like Nemo, like Nemo.
Nemophilist.
Philist.
But it's
Philist is some, like somebody who's into something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What,
Nemophilist.
so very into Finding Nemo.
A haunter of the woods.
Oh.
A haunter of the woods. This is the double
Of
meaning.
Stephen Woods?
I'm Woods, the woods. Get it? So be creative. Be as creative as you choose. A haunter of the woods. One who loves the forest and its beauty and solitude. A nemophilist.
A Nemophilist.
Nemophilist.
I've never heard of that.
I haven't
word
either.
before.
Nemophilist. It's a mouthful.
I am not a Nemophilist.
Nor am I.
As
You are a
bugs-
haunter of the woods a little bit.
Oh,
you
am
haunt me
I?
a little
Yeah.
bit. Yes.
Only in that way.
In that
But,
way.
Yeah, I don't like the bugs.
Nemophilist.
Nemophilist. Marble mouth. Give me not the British lady, not the Australian. Give me the guy with marbles in his mouth.
Nemophilist.
Nemophilist, Jesse, is your word in St. Louis. We miss you. We love you. Thank you for joining us as usual.
At some point, we're gonna have to put a rule in that if you can't say the word yourself, it can't be the word.
Nemophilist.
Nemophilist.
There you go.
Okay, now
Ooh,
that
there's
changed
less
it.
of a mush mouth there.
Nemophilist.
Nemophilist.
We'll go with Nemophilist.
Let's go with Nemophilist, the haunter of the woods, Jesse.
Yeah, I'll do it my way.
Yeah, he'll
Yes.
do it his way. He
Thank
always
you.
does it his
Thank
way.
you.
He's like Frank Sinatra out
That's
there.
right.
Thanks, Jesse.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Good album.
Yeah,
Great.
there
There it is.
There
Frank
it is.
Sinatra's greatest hits. Done. When I was 21, it was a very good year.
New York, New York.
Fantastic, man.
Jesse Agler on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall Chevrolet. Find new roads. Let's
He's
get
the
a
goat.
check of traffic here and more Ben and Woods on the other side on 97.3 The Fan.
From the Premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a number of things slowing you down this morning, guys. Southbound side of the 163, just before Friars Road, an accident blocking the slow lane. Also an accident on southbound 15, just before Friars Road. Looks like a couple vehicles involved in this one. They're over to the right shoulder. Accident clearing on the northbound 15, just past the 8. Also westbound 8's been a bit of a troubled ride. Looks like they finally cleared that accident near Los Coches and that other accident up ahead at the 125. But we still have this crash just before the 805. That is blocking the slow lane. Northbound side of the 805, jumping into the act now right before 43rd. Collision involving a couple vehicles. That is over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
A lot of talk, obviously, with the Padres struggling since the trade deadline, that if you could do it all over again, Woods should have traded Blake Snell and Josh Hader.
I hate that game.
Gotten
though.
something for them.
That game is it's a futile one. It's feudal.
It is, but maybe it doesn't have to be. Tweet that came out earlier this week from our friend Softy up in Seattle, radio host up there, said, hey, with the new expanded playoffs, more teams in it, should Major League Baseball move the trade deadline back so you have more time to determine whether or not you should be a buyer or a seller?
Typically,
a little more certainty.
End of July, so let's just call it end of August.
Call it
very
August
beginning.
1, right?
No.
August,
September 1?
No, August 1 was the deadline.
Oh, yeah. So move it up.
So move it up to August 15th? Are they taking 2 weeks or
he didn't throw anything out there.
He didn't. I don't think there was a specific date, but I mean, how late can you actually do it? I mean, it used to be they had the second non-waiver trade deadline in
they
September.
still have that.
I think they got rid of it. There's
in September, but you can still do it right after the deadline.
But now if you want to be playoff eligible, you gotta make the move at the end of July.
His
early
argument
August.
and context being, obviously, as a Mariners fan, they sold at the deadline and then had like one of the best months in team history, and now they are in first place in the American League West. And his point was, with the expanded playoffs and most teams staying in it longer, doesn't it make sense to, like, you're giving teams 66% of the season to decide if they're sellers or buyers?
If it was allowed at this moment, the Padres and Mariners would be fantastic trade partners, because the Mariners would be going, yes, we could use a couple of your players. We traded our closer. Oh, you've got Josh Hader? Yeah, they'd probably be willing to give up some serious prospects right now, knowing, well, now we're leading the division. We thought we were almost out of it. We traded away guys. Now we'd be willing to pay through the nose for maybe bring Blake Snell back to Seattle and Josh Hader here at the end of the season, but you can't. Trade deadline's already passed, so neither team can do what they really would like to do.
I certainly see his point about more teams being in it, but obviously today, right, as we sit here today and we see the injury to Yu Darvish and we see the injury to Joe Musgrove, and you have the potential of Hader and Snell walking away getting zero back for it. Yeah, dude. And now the thing that you wonder, if you move the deadline back, I feel like it creates more of a frenzy. You were saying yesterday when we were kicking this around, well, it shortens the time you're actually going to have those guys. And I said, but for teams like the Mariners are a perfect example. The Orioles. Who just lost Bautista. Dude, you
could get whatever you
You
wanted
could literally get
Hader.
whatever you wanted for Josh Hader right now. Like, name it. Get your top three, we're in it. We're not only in it, like we feel like we have a good chance to win it. Take these two pitching prospects and a catcher and let's ride.
Even though a later trade deadline would right now, I'm sure, benefit the Padres.
Yeah, big time.
I think it's a bad idea.
I think it's a great idea.
I will tell you why I think.
Embrace the chaos.
I think it's a bad idea when we come back. Paulie will give us some headlines in the Reindl Report as well. Got 1 hour still to go. It's more Ben and Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, let me tell you why I don't like our friend Softy's idea that baseball moves back the trade deadline.
Let's give it a date, though.
August 15th.
Okay, August 15th.
I mean, you could say September 1st, but to
That-
me,
that feels nuts.
That's part of the ridiculousness of why I don't like the idea to begin with. And I get it. It would add more certainty for the teams. We're definitely in it. We're definitely not in it. But I don't want trades to be that obvious all the time. You should win the World Series or not win the World Series based mostly on the team that you've been for 5 months on the season, not the one that you can build through trades in the last month.
What?
Yeah, but you got to hang for 4.5 months to even get to that point.
But that's spoken like somebody that's never seen a World Series championship. You don't give a frog's fat ass who's out there. Who's the player in baseball you hate the most? That you loathe? You look at him, you go, I can't stand that guy.
Max
Right now?
Muncy.
Right now, today.
My player I hate the most?
Yeah.
I don't hate anyone. I'm not a hater.
Who do you look at and go, God, I hope we never have him on our team? Justin Turner?
No.
Forgot who I'm talking to.
Great job, Ben.
Ben, you do a great job.
Max Muncy. If Padres trade for Max Muncy and he's playing third when he catches the last out of the World Series, you will be the world's biggest Max Muncy
that's
fan.
fine, but I want them to have to make that decision earlier in the season.
What, 2 weeks we're talking? 2 weeks. I'm talking 2 weeks. I like that. 2 weeks is a lot of games. That's 14 games-ish. 12
Both
to
teams
14.
that we're talking about here,
Both
Seattle and
teams.
San Diego, those 2 weeks absolutely changed the
those
equation.
2 weeks after the trade deadline, holy smokes, dude. Imagine if we swept Texas and then went on that horrific anti-run that we went on. Then you could say...
But part of what we love about baseball is that it's not black and white. It's not cut and dried. You can make a trade like the Mariners did and still go on a run.
Sure.
Or you can do what the Padres did, add pieces and still fall apart.
Sure.
And the longer you wait, the less debate there will really be. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we're now 10 games under 500, and it's after August 15th. We've got no chance whatsoever. It's just obvious to trade guys at that point. Or we're in first place, and it's
Isn't that
midway
great,
through
though,
August.
to give a little more clarity to a GM, to give a little more
I'm
clarity
sure for
to
the GM,
to
it's
a fan
great.
base?
I don't know for the sport, though, that's what you're really looking for.
I don't think because again, you're going to have GMs, right, that say, like, all right, let's do the Baltimore
Just every
Orioles.
year we've got 8 teams that are all in, and we got 8 teams that are selling everyone
And
possible.
also,
Isn't that
while
pretty
we-
much how it is?
While we can sit here and say, yes, if the trade deadline was August 15th, the Padres clearly would have sold.
Clearly.
How do you know that?
Yeah, you don't. You
AJ
don't.
still could have been like, now we're all in.
Yep, we're still going to go. We said we were all in, and we still are. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I love a little more time to figure out exactly who you are.
You're talking 66% of the season now where the deadline is. You'd be at about 70, 75%.
Yeah, and
right?
again, but there's and I said it flippantly. If you're the Mariners, and I don't know who their top 2 prospects are, but I got to imagine with the run that they're on and their massive lack of playoff success, they will overpay for Josh Hader.
Baltimore, same thing.
Baltimore will overpay, I think, for Josh Hader with Bautista being down, having a legit shot to win it.
How about the compromise? Keep the trade deadline where it is, but you get one more trade before September 1st. If you get like your closer gets hurt on August 15th, you get one trade. You can acquire one player after the trade deadline, and then maybe
But then you have to trade with a team that also hasn't made one trade.
Well, I mean, you can acquire one player. You can let's say you can still trade away players later.
You're
I'm kind of coming.
Digging, trying to.
I'm coming up with this on the fly.
Matt
here,
says
but
teams will fake injuries. You're not wrong. You are absolutely.
you don't have to. It
not
doesn't
wrong.
have to be an injury. You just get one. You can acquire one player, after the trade deadline.
I just like
so
this
if you
idea.
did have an injury, you could address it by trading for a closer or whatever you needed.
Michael G says if a GM needs 2 more weeks of games for clarity after 66% of the season, to me that means they aren't a very good GM. Sure. I mean, I think the guys in Seattle thought they were going to be really good. Through 66% of the season, they weren't really that great. And then look what they've done. Does that mean DePoto is, if that's still the GM? Does that mean he's a bad GM?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, he
does?
should have had more faith in his team. That he didn't. He thought he should have had more faith in that team.
Oh, so he's a bad GM because he sold.
He needs more A.J. Preller in him. Yeah, he's a bad GM because he sold and didn't trust the team that he put together was going to be good.
Well, he does. I mean, he does. He needs more A.J. Preller in him.
Yeah. A.J. had too much faith in his own team. He kept thinking they would turn it around. They never did. If Jerry DePoto thought like A.J. Preller, he would have acquired at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Like, I know we haven't played up to our potential, but we really believed in these guys, and I think they're going to go on a run. Like we heard all year long here in San Diego. And if the Mariners had just had the same kind of attitude that we had, they'd be in an even better spot right now.
Look, if we're the Atlanta Braves flagship, it's a different conversation we're having this morning. We're like, absolutely not. No. We don't need, the Dodgers going out and making a move right now. Everyone should be happy with what they have. Us being the San Diego Padres, with hindsight, being everyone's favorite method of viewing anything in this town and with this team, sure, I'd love a shot right now to see what you could get for Hader and Snell. I mean, it would bail out.
Oh, it would be good for the Padres.
It would be
now.
really
No doubt
good for the
about it.
Padres.
All right, let's get some headlines. It is
Interesting.
time for the Randall Report.
All right. Gentlemen, let's start. How about in the National Football League? The Arizona Cardinals. It's just wild how far they've fallen. They were never really that high, to be fair.
I forget they were in the Super Bowl like
14 years
15 years ago, something like that.
But
is that right?
You draft a guy like Kyler Murray, and you think you got the new top young coach.
Yeah.
You think everything's going to be going
Everything's
well,
golden,
and
baby.
it just hasn't been that way. I was today years old when I realized that Jonathan Gannon is the name of the Arizona
First time I ever heard of
Cardinals
him. Yep.
head coach.
I don't know where he's from.
T. Rich's cousin.
I don't know. But a little more clarity on their quarterback position. They're kind of getting dragged. So Kyler Murray.
2009. Yeah, 14 years ago.
09, wow. So Kyler Murray will be put on the physically unable to perform list.
Okay, the pup.
The deadline for that is later today.
Is he
that
injured?
means he's coming off, what was it, ACL?
Season ending
ACL.
last year, yeah.
Yep.
Right.
And so he will be on that list for 4 weeks, and then he'll have 3 weeks once he's activated before they have to put him on the roster. Otherwise, he's out for the year.
Okay.
So they're still trying to see if he's going to be able to play this year. And they also, the same day that they announced that, they released a backup quarterback, Colt McCoy.
I know Colt McCoy.
I've heard of him. And so that pretty much solidifies their quarterback situation. They've just been getting dragged. Like, what are you guys doing? What's the plan here? Right now, Joshua Dobbs is their newest acquired quarterback. They traded for him just a couple of days ago.
Joshua Dobbs, University of Tennessee, has played 8 games in 6 years in the NFL. And he is now the presumptive starter.
Yeah.
Yee.
Cut McCoy, who at least he's done it.
Probably available in my fantasy
Clayton
league.
Tune, the Houston quarterback, is a rookie, but I don't know. I saw someone tweet, Caleb Williams is the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals next year when they get the first draft pick overall.
That's why you feel really good starting either of these guys and letting that Caleb said he's not even for sure he's coming out yet, which is insane to me. But
that's what you say when it looks like you might be headed to the Arizona Cardinals.
I don't know.
Arizona's tanking for me next year.
2 years, yeah. Just like, sorry, sucker. Welcome.
No wins for Williams.
Yeah. It's a good move by them.
Yeah. All right, next up.
So you won't move up the trade deadline, but you love tanking in football.
I don't love
Caleb
tanking.
Williams.
I
You
don't
love
love
weeks
tanking.
we just
I'm
said
just
it.
saying that looks like what they may be attempting at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I have told you guys this before. We've talked about it. Anytime one of those videos goes viral of a robot that does very human-like things like running or jumping
Don't
on
wanna
top
see it.
of boxes or
Do not
anything
wanna
like
see it.
that. Well, fans in Atlanta, Adam, if you're listening, are going to be welcomed by a new security robot guard dog at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. His name is Benzie. And if you're watching on YouTube, there's a photo of Benzie. It's a robot guard dog, and he is going to monitor 11 acres throughout and around Mercedes-Benz Stadium and will send real-time video to their security hub or whatever, and he's going to be going in 30-minute shifts around the stadium.
Could have used him at Coors Field to keep those fans off the field and off of Ronald Acuna last night.
You go to grab a beer or a hot dog or something, and there could just be a robot dog just cruising the concourse.
Does it have like laser beams or anything that like some sort
Hurts
of
you?
Yeah. Shock,
Just
like
jumps
like an
on you?
electric shock it
says
can
do not-
deliver.
it says do
It
not
does
touch
say-
on
yeah,
it,
no,
yeah.
do not touch. It's got 5G, which is good.
What is it going to do?
It will, I guess, alert their
To
security
the real
departments,
human security.
because it's going to be taking live
question.
video throughout the whole time.
I mean, if it started
Question.
walking at me, I'm turning the other direction. I'll tell you that.
Isn't that what cameras do?
That's a good point. This is a robot, though. It's
Okay,
cooler.
this is a robot.
Right.
But cameras also alert real human security guards to anything untoward that may be happening.
But they need someone watching the
Watching.
camera as well. Maybe this robot doesn't need anyone. It just tells you, hey, here's what's up.
Okay.
Terrifying.
Benzie.
Benzie, it is. It's absolutely
I
creepy.
do not
man.
like that
I don't like
one
it.
bit. Finally, got an international airlines from Corendon Airlines. It's a Turkish-Dutch airlines, and they have introduced something called an only adult zone on their flights. It's starting later this year, and it's only on longer international
I bet it
flights.
is.
But I think it's more importantly, it's a sign of possibly what could come.
Adults only. Why does it sound creepy when I say it? Step into the adults only section of the plane. You're like, what's going on?
Oh, my God. I'm so stiff.
That's
Well,
Ben on
guess
the adults
what?
only section.
You came to the right airline, Ben Higgins.
Paulie is too young to remember. When we grew up, there were smoking aisles.
Yeah.
On an airline.
Sections.
Like rows 14 through 17.
You could blast camels.
You get as if there was some magic screen
Yeah,
that prevented
right.
the
In row
smoke
18.
wafting in front or the back.
Oh.
It was all over the place. Same with the kids. If they're on the plane, just because they're 2 rows ahead of you doesn't mean you don't hear them whining and crying.
I believe it will be like its own section, like the area where the flight attendants gather to get the drinks or snacks ready. That would be more in the middle, and there would be the adults only section and the rest section, the family section, whatever you want to call it.
Williams.
And of course, it is centered really around children, I think is the biggest part.
Williams says it will be separated by a beaded curtain.
Yeah, the old beaded curtain.
Is this a hookah lounge?
The sound of a beaded curtain.
The airline said this zone on the plane is intended for travelers without children and for business travelers who want to work in a quiet environment. The airline argued that these zones will also positively impact parents who
Intercourse. Intercourse on planes.
Yeah.
It's going to positively impact the amount of people having intercourse on planes.
Like, I do not have kids. When I travel, I don't have to worry about that. Of course, we've all had the crying child on a plane sitting near you. It
Not
sucks,
me.
but I have never been like, hey, shut that baby up. You know what I mean? Like, I know that parent,
The parent
is in
is
the
in- you're in hell.
absolute torture chamber.
You've never been in a worse torture chamber than with your kid crying on a plane. Nothing.
However,
there's
Have
nothing
you ever
like
been
it.
on a plane, though, where there's the 2 parents and they're sitting in a row and they put the kid behind them in your row?
Sitting with you?
Yes.
I don't think so.
I've seen it.
I've had the kid kick my chair for hours and hours. I just wear it. I just wear it on a plane. I'm like,
I try
"Let's
not
get
to
out
let
of
it
here."
bother me.
Right.
And again, I always come back to that parent is
Like-
in a much worse spot than I am right now. But if there's an adults only section where I don't have to worry about that.
Because you're a disgusting
You're
pervert
damn right
that
I'm buying
be.
it.
You're a disgusting
damn
sexual
right.
deviant that you're going to buy in a. Can I get the adults only section? Like, sir, this isn't what you think it is.
It's looking at about $50 each way if you wanted to upgrade.
So the thing with kids crying on a plane, people realize now. I have them right here. These are noise canceling AirPods. They work like a dump truck could drive through my house. I can't hear it. If you're complaining about kids on planes, then you're a cheap turd. Go get some of these. You're good forever. You never have to hear anything you don't want to hear again, ever. Kids cry. It's shocking, I know. If you're still complaining about babies on planes in the year 2023, it's not the baby's fault. You're
much
the problem.
more outraged at the guy that brings Panda Express
No doubt.
onto the plane.
Yeah. Hey, enjoy your Popeye's chicken for all of us to smell. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm flying home from Vegas. I haven't slept in 3 days, but I have to watch you eat a chicken biscuit meal.
This guy's just wolfing
Just-
down a
oh,
Maybe
burrito.
there should be, instead of an adults only
dining
section, a takeout food section. Like, hey, if you want to bring food on the plane, you have to be seated in these rows
on the wing. Don't bring snacks on a plane that you can reach into a bag. Don't bring your meal on a plane. I love Mickey D's. Look at me. Nobody likes Mickey D's more than I do. Mickey D's on a plane smells like diarrhea. It smells like diarrhea every time. Does fries on a plane? You're like, oh my God, this is the worst experience of my life.
With a Cinnabon.
No, Cinnabon's fine. It smells like cinnamon. You're good. Bring Cinnabon on the plane.
No, are you
and
kidding
give
me?
me a taste.
Unless he brought some for everybody.
Give me a taste. Adults only sounds
Yeah,
so creepy.
for me, it's not necessarily the unpleasantness of the smell. It's the torture of wanting to eat the food that you can't have.
Yeah, unless
you can't even just, I'll go up and get my own. If you're in the terminal, all right, I make the decision. I'm going to go get my own Cinnabon because it smells good. But once you're on the plane, you can't do that. So
no, you just be considerate. Lance wants to know, Ben, what about a section? What about a section to discuss run differential? That's the best comment that maybe we've ever had.
Ben in his own section.
So you guys won't believe it. We're the only team with a plus run differential. It's unbelievable.
What if I told you?
What if I told you?
We got a giveaway coming up next. I am
that's
holding
genius,
it right
Lance.
now for our YouTube audience.
Jesus.
Put it away. Adults only.
There it is. Paulie's holding it as well. Big, firm grip.
Yep.
Give away a Fernando Tatis Jr. bobblehead coming up in our next segment. Keep listening to win after a check of traffic here. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. You can listen to Sam Levitt's podcast, Inside San Diego Baseball. Sam covering everything going on with the Padres. Find it at 973thefansd.com, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcast. So I was going to ask you, Woods, did you feel the earthquake this morning?
I never did.
Because you said you were up really early.
Earthquake today?
Yeah,
Yes.
this morning.
But then I looked it up, and I realized it was at 1:05 a.m. off the coast of Oceanside, 3.7 magnitude quake. Not a huge quake, but certainly something you could feel. But I remember looking at my phone right as I was setting my alarm to go to sleep last night. It was 1:04 a.m. as I went to sleep. So 1 minute later, I may have just missed it last night. I don't know if anyone felt it out there, but we had an earthquake last night.
Knock on wood. I never feel them, so it's a good thing.
It's not, growing up here, I've felt plenty of them. I was in the big Northridge quake when I was in college in Los Angeles, about 20 miles away. It was fairly terrifying to be in one that big.
Sure.
But it's more just the not knowing, hey, like, is it going to stop or is it going to get worse? And you just have that few seconds, like, all right, if it's just a little shake and rattle, then it's over by the time you even thought about it. Whatever. That's just an earthquake. It's when it's going for like 5 or 6 seconds, then you start thinking, what if this is just the beginning of the big one?
The big one, yeah.
And then you start like panicking.
People in other parts of the country really talk about the big one all the time.
I was going to ask, have you guys heard about the big one your whole life?
Oh, my whole life.
I absolutely did.
Yeah. We've done this bit before, things that you were terrified of when you were a little kid, but then you came to find out not that serious. Quicksand was one that I feared was around every corner when I was a little kid. I'm like, I heard down by the creek there's quicksand, so don't go down there because you'll fall in. I can't get you out. There's quicksand everywhere.
Even if there is quicksand, it's actually not.
It's not that
as
quick.
dangerous as
You
they
don't
make it seem like
right.
in the cartoons.
That was one.
Earthquakes are real, though. I mean,
yeah. But
you remember
the
World Series, the Bay Area one was
crazy.
Absolutely real. The Los Angeles one, absolutely real. We're probably overdue for a big one at some point, which is terrifying. But
I was not alive yet when Mount St. Helens erupted up in the Pacific Northwest, but grew up like studying it and hearing all of the stories about it. But growing up my whole life, at least in Seattle, it was always, hey, Mount Rainier, if we have the big earthquake, Mount Rainier is gonna trigger an explosion, an eruption, and that whole area, you're not even gonna know what happened if this volcano erupts.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Just terrifying. Just looking at it going.
Creepy to think about.
Any day. Just waiting for it to happen. I just try to put it out of my head.
What was yesterday's slogan?
Life is a rental.
Life is a rental. Jake Mintz, Cespedes Family
Really
Barbecue.
Good slogan. I thought about that a lot yesterday. Life is a rental.
He texted me like 2 hours later. He goes, hey, just remember, life's a rental.
That's amazing.
So,
Ask him if we can put it on a shirt, and do we have to give him a cut? We probably do. We haven't done a shirt in forever, Ben and Wood shirt.
No, it's been a while.
It's been a while. I'd like you to design
a shirt. Yeah.
Somebody want to design a shirt for us?
I don't think, was it last year or was it 2 years ago when we did the inter-show competition where we
That was
each
fun.
came up with a design.
We each came up with a design.
And we tried to see who could sell the most in 2 weeks or something.
You had your kids wrote tier 1.
Bo did tier 1.
Yeah, Bo did tier 1.
I love seeing that shirt out in the wild.
Ben
so
did,
cool.
His Colonel Budget.
Colonel Budget, which was great. And we sold 1.
And I did Do the Show, ...
Yep, that was great too. That was great. I beat the crap out of you guys.
Yeah, we knew you were going to win that one.
You creative geniuses didn't want to do your own designs,
right?
So you kind of gave me the idea and made me put it together.
Correct.
As soon as Woods sent over handwritten. by 3-4-year-old Bo at the time.
He was 3 years old. Yeah.
Handwritten tier 1. I go, well, why am I even going to try to come up with a design?
Don't even
doesn't
try.
matter.
That's right. That's right. No, we need to update our merch store. It's been a while. We've been slacking. Sorry.
Speaking of merch, though, we're going to give away a little Padres merch right now. We got a Fernando Tatis Jr. bobblehead. It's going to be a giveaway during the Padres-Phillies series. Tickets are still available, padres.com/tickets. September 5th is the bobblehead giveaway. That's the Tuesday game. They're in town Monday through Wednesday next week. First 40,000 fans in attendance. First come, first serve, so arrive early. A Padres Fernando Tatis Jr. bobblehead presented by Petco. The bobblehead features El Nino Smooth Swing, celebrates the Silver Slugger. This is the last bobblehead of the year as well.
Okay.
So last chance to get one at Petco Park, and we are giving one away right now to the fifth caller at 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Your chance to win one. They are now in-house. So no chance we're going to not have them. We got them now. Fernando Tatis Jr. bobblehead giveaway. Good luck. Let you know who the winner is. And then I get to talk a little bit about the spicy Ryder Cup picks, right? When we come
Very
back.
excited. He's very excited.
Promised me in our final segment. Brooks Koepka in the Ryder Cup. What happened to punishing the live players? Wasn't that going to be a thing?
Didn't he just win? He won a PGA.
He won a major.
Yeah, a major. So
he abandoned the rest of his PGA Tour mates, though, for the money. Come back next with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Sour 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the San Diego Automotive Museum's new exhibit, A Trip Down Whiskey Road. It opens August 31st. Explore the origins between moonshine, NASCAR, and heavily modified whiskey running cars that inspired modern muscle cars. Go to sdautomuseum.org for information.
Now I have some production to do after the show. Can Paul and I just go do it now?
While I do golf talk?
Can you imagine we just leave him? He's like,
no. Pants off.
He's like, well, anyway.
Secretly, you like this conversation now as well.
I love golf. I just know that 89% of our audience doesn't.
Well, then forget about the fact that it's golf.
Okay, put it out of your head.
You have a person who basically turned his back on the PGA Tour.
We're not going to get into that debate again. Because they've got him on the European side too. Right?
I don't know that there's anyone on the team. Now, they haven't named their captain's picks yet. So I don't know if there'll be any live golfers on the European side. But Brooks Koepka was named to the team today. And then maybe even more controversially, Justin Thomas was named to the team as well.
Okay. For those of you not in the know, Justin Thomas has had a terrible golf season.
Yep.
He's not playing good golf.
Didn't even make the top 70 to get into the first FedEx Cup tournament, much less the next two after that. So he's been off the last 3 weeks because he wasn't good enough to qualify. But he got picked today as a captain's pick based solely on his track record of what he's done in these team competitions in the past. And he has been really good. They paired with Jordan Spieth. He plays with Jordan. Those two have dominated in their alternate shot and their 4-ball matches in Ryder Cup play and President's Cup play. So they're trusting that no matter how poorly he's been playing, that in this setting, in this team competition, he's still going to be good. But like baseball, golf is very much an individual sport in a lot of ways. I mean, maybe only golf is more individual slightly than baseball, but essentially you're up there. You're battling the course. You're battling the ball. Your teammate can't really do anything for you in golf. Do you kind of understand how it works for people who aren't familiar with the Ryder Cup?
I mean, yeah, golf's an individual sport, and
even in a team competition, though,
right?
It's still an individual sport. Even in an alternate shot where you're hitting a ball and then your partner's hitting the ball, you can't do anything about it. You still have to hit your shot as good as you can possibly hit your shot. And then it's up to the next guy to do his part. But it's not really a team sport in any way. Even the live whole, yay, we're doing team golf. It's Phil Mickelson's high flyers against Brooks Koepka, whatever it is. There's no team. It's just you're putting scores together and adding them all up until you get a team score. But it's just a bunch of individuals. There's no team aspect to golf. The Ryder Cup creates it kind of artificially by putting together in matches, in foursomes, where it kind of gives that illusion of a team sport. But really, it's still and will always be an individual sport. No one can help you make the swing. No one's moving the cup or the ball or anything for you. It's up to you to execute each and individual shot. It's really as individual as it gets. But we make it into this team competition every other year for the Ryder Cup. And now we think that because Justin's been so good in the team competition, he has to be on the team. Well, why is he being good?
Because he performs well in the Ryder Cup. That's where he thrives. That's where he shines. That's where he plays his best golf for reasons unknown.
Well, maybe he's performed well in the Ryder Cup
because he was playing well.
Because he's a really good golfer who was playing well each time the Ryder Cup played, and now he's not playing well.
So do you think that was a wasted pick?
I tend to think that was a mistake.
I saw a lot of yesterday on Twitter. Oh, see, this is why, it'll always be a good old boys club. And if you're in, the popular crowd, you're going to get in, and this guy's more deserving and that guy's more deserving. Bro, I want a guy with a track record. It's the same reason Europe has dumpy-ass Ian Poulter in there every year, because he's really good in that event.
You know who was really good? Tiger Woods was really good. They're not picking him. You know why? Because he can't play golf right now.
Hurt.
Well, yes, but Justin Thomas may be healthy, but he's not playing good golf. Jack Nicklaus isn't hurt. He's old. He's
100 years old.
At some point, your skill has to trump just the fact that you've done well in the past in this event.
Well, Ian Poulter plays.
He usually does. I don't know if he's in or not. He's a live golfer, so
he always plays in that thing, and he has been, missed cuts, not,
No,
and,
I think there are guys
really good.
I think there are guys who don't mind the pressure of, the fans cheering against you, which is what will happen for the American team when they go to Italy. You rarely in golf have a whole fan base that's cheering against you.
So
that's unusual.
Good point in here. Carl says, could argue if JT got picked based on his track record, DJ should have been in the mix too, but Liv. You can't leave one guy out for Liv and then take another
Well, DJ
one.
didn't win a major, though. Brooks won a major. Yeah, and I think that ultimately carried the day. If you're going to take a live golfer, he didn't quite make it. He almost made it automatically on points. It would have been a pretty direct snub. If they had left Brooks off, it would have been because he went to live. The other guys, you can at least say, what did you win this year? What did you do this year?
I have a feeling there's so much consternation about the JT pick. I just have that gut feeling he's going to absolutely shred the competition.
And if that happens, then Zach Johnson as the captain will be a genius for saying, hey, I know he wasn't playing well, but I believed in him, and he came through
That's a risk,
we
man.
thought he would.
It's
but
a
it
risk.
is, yeah.
It's a huge risk. I love it, man. I love the Ryder Cup. 2 weeks? 2 weeks from?
Yeah, in Italy, I think September 17th or something like that. Right around, whatever that weekend is later this month.
Okay, I can't wait.
It's fun. It's a fun competition.
It's so fun. And they dominate us in Europe. Dominate.
So it's been 30 years. 1993, the last time an American team won the Cup
in Europe
on European soil.
Wow. That was the Justin Leonard. My dad was there.
When I was growing up, the U.S. they almost won every Ryder Cup. But then it was just England against the United States at the time. And then they expanded it to all of Europe. There's a lot of good golfers now. I mean,
John Rahm,
Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, Victor Hovland. The top of the European team
we're dead.
is really good. Now,
we are dead.
They may not quite have the depth, of the American team. Their 6 through 12 is probably not as good. So
but
that's
their
why
1 through 6 is really
singles,
good.
Though, when they get to the last day, when you get 12 matches and everyone's a full point, those last 6 matches, that's 6 points where the Americans will probably be favored. That could carry the day.
All right. Well,
there's my Ryder Cup.
There's your Ryder Cup talk. There you go. I'm excited about it. We will cover it, Ben, when it gets here.
September 29th.
Okay.
It's the end of the month. End of the month. So it's still 4 weeks away.
Beautiful.
All right. We will take a quick look at traffic, come back with today's Padres matchup, and final thoughts on Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Cadillac of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Well, guys, we still have a few things wrapping up our morning drive. Traveling on the westbound 56, just before Carmel Valley Road, there is a collision. Everything has been moved over to the right shoulder. Any reports of a crash on the Mar Vista on-ramp to westbound 78. Also, traveling on the westbound King Freeway at College off-ramp, a collision. Westbound side of the 52, right before the 163, an accident involving a couple vehicles. Looks like this one may be blocking middle lanes. They did clear that accident south on 163 before Friars Road. Just watch out for a little residual there. Coach Quintero and Joe Musgrove's choice. They're a different kind of dealership, looking to be a solid community partner and deliver excellent service. Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Chevrolet, find new roads. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Another 4:45 start today for the Padres and the Cardinals. Seth Lugo on the mound for the Padres against Zach Thompson, left-handed pitcher for the Cardinals. Now, do you think the Padres will go with the same lineup as yesterday, with Juan Soto moving up to 2? Was it Soto 2, Manny 3, Tatis 4, Bogarts 5? That was the lowest Tatis has batted all season, by the way. 4.
Is that right?
Did get 2 hits, scored 3 runs. It's weird. You think, well, that's perfect for a 2-hitter. Get 3 hits, get on base, score a bunch of runs. But then when he was in the 2 slot, he wasn't doing that, and now he does it in the 4 slot. Baseball makes no sense.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Try to make it make sense. It never seems to.
Yeah, I don't think you'd change too much.
Even though it's a lefty.
Campy probably be behind the dish, yeah. Sanchez started last night. So get Campy. Maybe Garrett Cooper's swinging the bat
probably
well.
won't
He
have
stays
Carpenter as a DH.
Carpenter will
against
not be
lefty,
the DH, so you throw a Sanchez DH spot.
It's been a while since we've seen the Sanchez DH day.
What are our options? It's a Matt Batten day, potentially.
He had a home run last start.
He did.
I'd
rather see Sanchez and Camposano, to be honest with you, than Matt Batten, but what do I know? Not much.
No. I know the Padres have had trouble stringing wins together.
Who's this
year.
guy that they're throwing?
Lefty Zach Thompson is his name. 3-5, 3.86 ERA.
Was pitching. Sounds pretty good. So
was pitching out of the
right.
bullpen for much of the year, but he has made some starts this month. Let's see. He won his last start, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs against the Pirates. Lost the previous start against the Mets, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs. 4 innings against the Royals, 4 hits, 1 run. So he's done okay in some of these starts. Not deep into the game. He's not thrown more than 90 pitches. He's been between 60 and 90 pitches. So a guy you probably get out after 5 innings tops, you would think, in today's game.
Okay.
But I don't know much about him otherwise. He was in the bullpen for the first couple of months of the season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously excited to see what Seth Lugo can do. With every win Seth Lugo gets, it's closer probably to an opt-out for him, right? You would imagine he's got the opt-out at the end of the season.
I would say that ship is already sailed unless he gets hurt or something.
Probably already there. So, yeah, it's a weird position to be in as a fan with your team with a 2% chance to make the playoffs. 2.9% chance to make the playoffs.
Get it up to like 4.4 today with a win.
I mean, it was wild watching the game last night, and I was like yelling and screaming and excited when they did something, and but it's just we're all in a weird mood with this team right now. A very, very weird mood. That's the best way that I can put it. It's just odd. It's odd watching them. It's odd, thinking to yourself, yeah, of course we'll get hot when it doesn't matter. It's so hard to fathom, and so it's weird watching the games. But I still got excited last night when I saw the guys getting hits and Tatis almost rounding first and having to slam on the brakes and dive back to the bag and watching them make plays and stuff. Yeah, I still got fired up.
I knew that even if the Padres won last night, even if they picked up a game, which they did, wasn't going to change my mind.
Right.
It's also not going to change my mind today.
Correct.
They could win. They could pick up another game on the Diamondbacks / Giants Cubs and get within 6. Not going to change my mind. Now, if they do that 3 days in a row and all of a sudden they're 4 games back, yes, you will reel me back in somehow.
Yeah.
And it's not impossible for that to happen. The Diamondbacks are playing the Dodgers. Giants are playing the Reds. It could theoretically happen that I could be reeled back in at this point. But it's not going to happen today.
No, not going to happen today. But to get there, you'd have to win today.
You would.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, why don't we spin the topic wheel for the last 5 minutes of the show?
What skill do you wish you had?
Oh, God. Craftiness.
Craftiness.
Yeah.
Like you want to be able
Not to
to
make
throw
crafts.
82 miles an hour and strike out batters with your left-handed curveball.
Is that the word I'm looking for? Handiness. That I have. I wish I could be. I wish I could be more handy.
You want to be more like MacGyver.
No,
like,
no,
you
I
don't
couldn't.
know.
No. I want to be able to. When my wife says
Ingenuity. No.
When my wife says we need this
Fix.
drywall,
Be able to fix everything.
I got
Yeah.
it. Let me go get my stuff. Yeah, I'm not. I have none of it, and I wish I did.
A handy man.
Yeah, I wish I was handier.
Yeah, I was similar. I was thinking it would be cool to be able to fix my own car.
It would
Like
be
change my
the
own
coolest
oil or
effing
tires or. But then again, I don't know that I'd really want to do that, even if I could.
You're right. I'd probably still pay $300 for mine just because I'm lazy. But it'd be cool to be like, oh, you need an oil change? Let me get it for you. I got it. I'll do it for you. They would need like a lot of cars that they didn't care about anymore to let me work on it. As somebody taught me.
Practice cars.
I tore the alternator out. I'm sorry. I wish I had those skills.
What does the alternator do?
No idea. Alternates between on and off is what my guess is. On, off, on, off. The alternator. That would be my guess. Do you know?
I've got
no idea.
Something about starting.
What does the carburetor do?
No idea. Filters things, I think.
It does.
Yeah, some filters.
Carburetor for your car.
Yeah, it's a berator. Paulie, what was your? What
Definitely
was yours?
automotive.
Automotive.
At least having even a general idea of what the problem is, whether or not I can fix it myself. Like, it'd be great to do that. You also kind of need the setup and the garage and the tools and all of that. But to know, like, all right, this is what happened. This is what it should cost to get it fixed. Like, this is the solution. that would be a huge help because I have to FaceTime my buddy who's a mechanic up in Washington and just be like, all right, so what would you pay for that? He goes,
So
anything more than $350, they're screwing
you're
you
getting
over.
rooked. So my buddy Mike, he's like a mechanic. I take my car to him if there's something. He operates out of his house. His bit to me, he's like, bro, it's all electronics now. You need like special, and I'm like, well, that's why I'm not doing it. I don't have the setup.
Just
to
be a little different than I've always thought it'd be really cool to be one of those bartenders who can, like, with a flourish, like make really good drinks,
Sure.
a quick, garnish, and here you go, sir. Here's your martini. Here's your whatever. Have that skill is always an important one.
I had a little bit of that when I was a bartender, but not. It's gone.
Just very
Very
minimal amount
tiny,
of bar.
tiny.
I mean, I could make a decent cocktail. I know the ingredients and stuff, but to do it, fast
Cool.
and cool with style.
I feel like you would
think would
spill
be fun.
on yourself
Exactly.
a lot.
I don't
feel
have
like
that
you would
skill.
spill on yourself a
Too
lot.
clumsy.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I
I'm not
can see it.
smooth, but that would be a cool skill to have.
Yeah, that's true.
Spin it?
Yeah, one more time.
More time for this one, I think. What's your most unpopular food opinion?
Corn tortillas are terrible. So are avocados. There you go. That's it for me.
I mean, you're not totally wrong about the corn tortilla
Not a
thing.
fan. I always
choose
Fresh,
flour over-
fresh
Not a fan.
handmade corn tortillas are amazing.
Just not a fan. I mean, I'll eat those, yeah, but
like store-bought corn tortillas are awful.
that's my. Those are my
And a
two least
store-bought
popular.
flour tortilla, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely fine.
It's fine.
Absolutely.
A homemade tortilla of any kind is just so much better.
Also, stop putting avocados on everything. We don't need it.
Yeah, avocados are good. I don't know why you don't like
Consistency
avocados.
of poop.
Mine
not-
I can't get
remains,
on
and this is a holdover from my youth, but I like Chef Boyardee
It's
ravioli.
very weird.
I know it's
That's
weird.
disgusting.
Absolutely
I
repugnant.
like SpaghettiOs.
You should be
That-
arrested.
that is like the worst
I like
thing I've ever
that
heard.
mushy processed pasta food in a can. I like it. It's got a tanginess that I
thinking
cannot
about it.
resist.
Also,
It's-
oysters are massively overrated. Cold snot shots.
I think a lot of food like crab, lobster, it's good.
More
it's just
trouble than
too
it's
much
worth.
work.
Yeah, more trouble
It's
than
not
it's
worth
worth.
it. I would definitely say mine is not only does pineapple belong on pizza, like
Makes it better.
it makes it
Yeah.
elite.
Couldn't agree more. Love it.
I
and
don't
I
know
know
why
people will-
that is such a controversial thing.
It's fantastic.
Any good chef will tell you a good combination of sweet, spicy, fatty, salty, put it all together. It's always a winner. And pineapple gives you both a little sweetness, a little acid that generally makes things better.
Like while Hawaiian pizza is ham and pineapple, or Canadian
Delicious.
bacon and pineapple, whatever, I still say pepperoni and pineapple is even better. It
Oh.
gets you that spicy.
There's another one of my
sweet.
takes. I don't like pepperoni. It gives me heartburn. It gives me heartburn to look at it.
I kind of think, I mean, I love bacon, but it's overdone now. People put it on too many things.
Agreed. We're about to get canceled. That's fine.
That's why it's unpopular food opinions and not popular food
Those are
opinions.
eat what you dig, man. Eat what even you with your Chef Boyardee. That's like meth head food.
I know. I'm such a fancy person otherwise.
It's so weird.
But I just love the comfort of
4-year-olds
beef
and meth. 4-year-olds
beef
and meth
ravioli,
heads.
Chef
My kids
Boyardee.
won't even eat
I
that.
still like it. I can't stop. I'm hooked. All right, that's it for us today. Coach is coming up next. For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for more Ben and Woods here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.